Testing 1 2 3 1 2 3. What's going on, Robin? Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Bronze Reaper podcast. I'm your host, Rosalind Perkins, and we got a great show today. We have a great show today. Do the Latino community support the white supremacy ideology? That I think, and I'm gonna say this. I don't know if it was Be Active or Shabaka that actually said something like this, but I had to talk about it. So definitely, what's going on, Fresh as always. Salute. I had to talk about it today. I wanted to see what other people think today. Um, if you have been tuning in, we have been doing a number of different things in the Bronze Reaper universe. We have been talking about white supremacy. We have been talking about, unity. We have been talking about victimhood. We had talked about Chud the Builder. We have talked about a lot of things. And all of the stuff that we have been talking about. Um, Give me a second, everyone. Give me a second, everyone. All right, sorry about that. What's going on, Dorsey? Salute. So we have been talking about a lot of things. Give me 1 second. I gotta reset. All right, I'm just resetting my settings. For some reason, I can't see my views. So yeah. Uh, no audio. Give me a second. All right. Give me a second. All right, I fixed it. Um, but yeah, today we're gonna be talking about the Latin community again. I wanted to I want to finish having a conversation with the Latin community. I think that's very important because I don't know if it's I don't know if it's a conversation that nobody knows, but definitely I think we need to have this conversation. Do the Latin community support the white supremacy idea? I did write notes down. If you see right here, I got notes down over here. You see a little bit, so we will be talking about these notes. And before we start, I want to say this: not every Latin or Latino person is um, a white supremacist or supports the white supremacist ideology. Give me a second. Let me turn this bad boy down. Yeah, not everybody from the Latino community is a white supremacist or practice the white supremacist ideology. Do I think it's cultural? To a certain extent, we will be talking about that as well. Give me a second. Why do I got this up? Give me a second, everybody. What's going on, Fresh as always? And any Latino who wants to come up and talk, and I want to say this, I don't want them to think that, oh yeah, well, you know what, they can't talk because they're Latino, or this is an all black show. No, it's, if you want to talk, you want to say your piece, by all means, I give you the benefit of the doubt of doing it. So yeah, definitely, I'll say it's your time. It's your time. Or any black Americans want to say something, it, like I said, these are one of these shows where, you know what, me, I'm gonna let you talk. You know, there's no ands or buts about it. I'm not gonna be like, oh, well, you know what, you can't talk because this is an all black show. No, absolutely not. I give you, as a Rosalind Perkins, I give you the benefit of the doubt of talking. I give you the benefit of the doubt of saying what you want to say, and that's the one thing I want to do. Latinos are the long spears. Didn't you say FBA's were short spears? So it's only been 200 years apiece. Hmm. I'll say this, Dorsey. What's going on? Convo. Salute, salute. I'm sorry, and I'm sorry too. I'm still getting stuff started. So if basically not short, but not, if basically just starting to talk to you now or answer your question, I apologize. It's I'm just trying to get stuff started. So again, my apologies. You know, but yeah, I personally feel like this. Okay. Hmm. So I give me a second. I'm just trying to find a new joint so we can. Um. I don't think there's nothing wrong with Latinos, but I personally do think that they do have anti blackness in their community. I have always felt that way. That's something that they I feel like that's something that they always had to fix. I always feel like that was something that they always had to fix. Like, in certain communities, even in the black community, there's certain things that you have to fix or something that you have to get over. And as I always say, black Americans are not saints. We do have our time when, we do nigga shit, and that's what we call it. It's nigga shit, you know? But one thing about us, we always try to correct it, and we won't be like, oh, well, you know what? Make up an excuse for it. Latinos suffer from colorism. Yes, I do agree. Convo. I do agree that they do suffer from colorism. You know, that's where that me. I'm no black. I'm no black came from. I think that's the disconnect. With Latinos. So what Latino country will we target? Each had different history. Um, Let me put this up because Robin actually said something that was super dope. Robin said, I just hold on one second. Wrong one. Hold on. Let's see. So, no, not that one. Give me a second. I just, uh, hold on. Was that Robin? That was Dorsey, actually. I'm sorry, Robin. Dorsey. Dorsey said, "So, what Latin country will we target? Each had different histories. They had different histories, but they had the same oppressor and ideology after um, after colonialism, they try to fit in with the Spaniard culture, even though they were accepted in Spain. They will get spit on, and this is the word spit came from. It came from the Spaniards. I would think it would. Latinos gotta hold their own tacos. Yeah, I agree with you, Combo. They do need to hold their own tacos, but I want to say this. I do believe, and this is just me. I do believe everybody had their own oppression. But the thing about our oppression and their oppression is that their oppression, hmm, their their oppression that they complied, they adapted. Unlike us, we never adapted or complied to their system. Um, this is why we have a dictatorship now because of foundational Black Americans. And were there contributes from others? Yes, absolutely. There has always been contributes to other people, but nobody didn't have the biggest effect than Black Americans. Nobody didn't have the biggest influence than Black Americans. Um, Nobody didn't have the obstacles such as Black Americans. So it's like we can talk about, yeah, we had the people from, the Caribbeans, Africa, Latinos contribute, but we are the bread and butter, we are the seasoning, we are the sauce of this beautiful thing that we call America. you know and what else is different is that they stayed on code. Let's see. Dorsey said Spain and Portugal took South America, then imported Central Europeans, Germans. Yes, yes, I do agree with that, Dorsey. They did. Um, and they did do genocide to them, but this is the reason why I said they're more white Hispanic than indigenous or African. Because they had a genocide. Not that they killed them, but when they were at war with certain people, they put the Africans in front to get slaughtered. It wasn't like America where they put us in the forefront and like we just dominated, you know. They put them in the forefront to get slaughtered, you know. Then Europeans um gave them free access in asylum to come to these countries. That's why you got a lot of these light skinned um, Latin people running around Central Latino Latin countries. So I will say this: I don't think it's all their fault to a certain extent, but you do have a choice to do you have a choice to do it or not do it though. I will say that. you know Um, Give me a second, everybody. All right, that's good. Let's answer some more questions because in like 5-10 minutes, I'm gonna give y'all my feedback and what I wrote actually yesterday. Um, when I heard my mother say, "Why do Mexicans hate me?" I stopped caring about them. Yeah, Robin, that's good for you because they're scared of you. They want to be white anyways. Look up a guy named Felix Tijuana. He said the Negroes fight is not our fight. We are fighting to be white. Just about. They didn't say like verbatim like that, but they have said like what I just said. They wanted to be white. They were fighting to be white. Not even Mexican. They were fighting to be white. So of course they're gonna, they're not. I'm gonna be personally honest. I don't think they hate you. I think they want to be you. You know. So does the Latino community support the white supremacy idea? The answer is yes. The same way supports in ideology the white supremacist idea. Both the FBA code and Latinos are anti-African. I'll say this, Black Snow Bunny. Black Americans are not anti-African. We just don't want to get into their business. I think, and as even as I said, I think Africans need to handle their own situation. What's going on in South Africa? I believe I don't see no bad or good about it. I just see it as that's South Africans' business. You know, yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Dorsey. They are influenced by anti-black biasness. Yes, I do agree. To 100, to a certain extent, I do agree with that. They are inspired by us, but they don't want to be us because don't forget we were the ones that made their culture cool. You know, when they got up to America, they were changing their name like Africans were changing their name. So you know, that's not only an African thing; that is also an Asian thing too. So it's that's why you got people like Jet Li or Jackie Chan or Bruce Lee. They changed their names. You think Bruce Lee and Jackie and Jet is their real name? I think the only name is Chow Young Fat. I think that's the only real name that he has. Remember the Japanese ran Peru, the Japanese president? Nah, I can't even go back that far. But you are not a Black American bronze. You are an FBA cult member. How do you figure? I am an educated African American. We are different. Yeah, because you're from Jamaica. You could put it this way. Black Snow Bunny King. You can you did have an ethnogenesis, but you can trace your lineage back to Africa. I can't do that. You know, and I don't see nothing wrong with that. The only people who are making a big deal out of it is you because you think it's a cult because we don't want to help anybody. You know, I think that's where your biasness comes from too. You need to watch. I think you need to watch the end of the show with Shabaka. Shabaka did a great job. But what Shabaka's problem is he brings feelings into it. You know, I have no feelings of it. You know, I understand when people say foundational Black Americans, they're talking about Black American lineage. You know, it's only you. You're trying to. If I'm saying, let me see if I'm saying it right, because I'm trying to use one word. Hold on one second. Give me a second. Let me see if I'm saying it right. So what you're doing, you're trying to make the word Black American an interchangeable word. It can't be an interchangeable word because Black American and foundational Black Americans is the same thing. You know, it's like me saying Jamaican. Is Jamaican an interchangeable word, or is it just one thing? You know, that's your issue right there, Snow Bunny King. Nah, Shabaka did a great job, but Shabaka couldn't answer the question. What Shabaka's problem was is he think the person who is loudest or who cuts people off is the winner. It doesn't work like that. What happened is that Shabaka couldn't answer the question, so he'll talk over, he will project, he will gaslight, and it just doesn't work. That's why I was asking them question. I said, so if you're saying Black American is a white man's word, isn't African a white man's word? You know, isn't Jamaican a white man's word? Like these are words that were made by the Europeans. You know, and I get it. I love Shabaka's personality. He stands on business. Yeah, Shabaka does stands on business, but Shabaka don't answer the question or don't know what he's talking about. Robin, that's just my issue about Shabaka. You know, Shabaka almost got my channel striked because what he said 2 days ago, so I had to clear it. I think I cleared it up. Um, if Shabaka gets my page strike, he better give a donation. I will say that. But yeah, I don't, that's the issue with me and Shabaka. Shabaka can't answer questions. He talks about how he feels, and I think when you talk about how you feel, um, anybody can be right. Bronze just describes himself. Bronze act like a cracker. He projects his feeling onto others. He says Shabaka is no. Being allowed to, if you go back to shows, you can identify the crackling idiots. I'll say this, Black Snow Bunny King. I personally wasn't debating Shabaka. I was letting Shabaka talk, and I would ask them questions, such as he said FBA is a cult. It's a new thing, and I said, can things be interchangeable? Can things have different titles or be updated? He said yes. So I said, so why can't the word Black Americans be updated to a foundational Black Americans? You know? And he was like, oh, because Tariq Nasheed made it. Then I asked him about Jesse Jackson and that him coining African American. I said he didn't, let's say he didn't create it, but he coined it, you know? He's like, I don't trust Jesse Jackson because now he's just telling me how he feels. And I get it, you can tell me how you feel, but at the end of the day, you're gonna lose value when you do stuff like that, you know. And what's his name? And shout out to Omega. Omega did his thing, man. We can't even get mad about that. Omega did his thing. Omega got busy. He stand on business, and Omega sees what type of shows I be having. And this is why I let everybody talk. It's not just for shock value, but at the end of the day, I want people to feel like, yo, they can actually say what they want to say, but there's the laws of the land where you have to respect, and that's all I ask you, you know, and don't bring people's, loved ones and shit like that, and like don't attack kids, you know. I think that's a very, a white supremacist thing, and that's just me. It's a white supremacist thing. A white supremacist will attack little kids and shoot little kids and think they're big and bad and attack the weak, And this is why we're talking about stuff like this. I'm gonna go before you talk, Dorsey. I want to go to my notes. So the real question I want to talk about is, let me see if my seat's up. I feel like it is up. So I want to talk about the real reason Latinos do defend, because I do think the Latino community do defend the white supremacy. I do agree with you on that, Snow Bunny King, and we can talk about history. We could talk about the history of Latin countries and stuff like that. Latinos not they never really accepted Afro-Latinos and Africans that came to the island, or African Afro-Latinos and Afro-Latinas. We're gonna talk about that first as their own. That's where the word La Raza came from. It wasn't for no positivity or as family. They said it as, whitening up the race. They got that from the Spaniards. Give me a second. Let me get a sip of some coffee. You know, um, I think I think that has always been a problem with me. They didn't accept their own people like Afro Latinos and Afro Latinas. It has always been Black Americans, even Caribbeans supporting the Afro Latinos and stuff like that. And this is why I said to a certain extent I do see them as my brothers to a certain extent. You know, a half brother, as if you really want to be, you know, frank about it. Another thing is Latinos try to whiten up their race, and like this has always been a historical thing. We have talked about this. We had shows about the African influence in Latin countries. I don't actually think we did that show, but we'll do this show probably next Tuesday. I think that's very important to say that a lot of Africans who migrated to not even migrated who were stolen and was enslaved in these Latin countries, they influence these Latin countries. A lot of the stuff that these Latinos do now, it was by Africans. Sosa. You know, I know they don't want to give credit to Africans with Sosa, but that's an African dance. Cooking, uh, what is it? Health. What is it? Medicine. African. No, we could talk about we could talk about bad stuff too, but at the end of the day, this is the good stuff that these Afro Latinos have done. You know, and they don't get credit for it. They put a white face on it and they say, "Oh, yo, this is all of us." You know, they do what they doing in America. Another thing, the Spaniards had. I mean, Spaniards having a genetic genocide against Africans in Latin countries. One country I can definitely say was Argentina. That's why there's only 4% Afro Latinos. You know, Brazil, they didn't really have it because they got, as me and Shabaka agreed, there's more um, African DNA African DNA in Brazil than in America. There's what 110 million, I think, Africans that has enslaved. Like we know that they came from Africa. Their ancestors came from Africa to Brazil. Yes, there's like 110 million of them because there was like 10 million that went to 10 to 11 million that went to Brazil. You know, so shout out for Brazil for holding on to their culture. If you look, hold on one second. Let me read some of y'all stuff. Straight fire content. Thanks, Convo. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh yeah, and also too, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the live chat. If you're not a subscriber, you cannot comment in the live chat. So definitely subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And give me a second, everyone. Also, if you want to donate to the system and to upgrade the systems, as always, my Cash App will be on here. And also, I do have a project coming up. So definitely donate to the project that I do have coming up called Brother Morningstar Sir Adam's Great Portrayal. I always promote that. I'm personally thinking about doing a show on that where y'all can ask me questions about my short film movie. You know, we're gonna do a GoFundMe that day. So I'm gonna take a day off of like just, you know, talking about, you know, current events in the black community, black, brown, and the white community. And I will be talking about my show. So definitely I will do that soon. Probably on a Friday I want to do that. And we'll probably have like other things that we can talk about. But those are my GoFundMe's and my Cash App. So definitely hit the link, send in some cheddar. And also if you want to super chat, definitely you could super chat. I don't mind. So yeah, what's going on? H9K, salute. I'll answer some of y'all questions. Bronze Imperial Empires courted South America, but Monroe documents. blocked them, especially when France claimed Mexico. Ooh, I didn't know that. I mean, truthfully, the Spaniards are basically just white folks. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Robin wrote this. Yeah, I think you. I personally, I think as I always call them, white Hispanics. You know, it's just they're not accepted. That's why I said they're the bastard child of Spain. It's because they're not accepted in Spain. And I think that's the issue. You know, I think that's the issue. Dorsey said if you look at Mexican American War, it was the U.S. doing a pre-empty strike before European people set up base on the continent. Facts. I do agree with that too. And also, you could say this: the war that they had with Spain without Africans and indigenous people, and I'm talking about the Seminoles. I don't think I'm gonna be personal honest. I don't think they would. I don't think that land will be like that. They would be speaking Spanish, not Spanglish or Mexican language or the Mexican tongue. They will be speaking they will be speaking Spanish. You know, so I would say that. Shout out to Afro Mexicans and the indigenous Mexicans, not the ones in these little gangs and stuff like that. I have to be honest. I'm talking about the purists of the purists. You know, let me get back into it. So America, West Texas, and California. Facts. But I will say this, Dorsey, they sold Mexico. I mean, they sold Texas, California, and all those other states or colonies. At the time they were colonies. So Mexicans can't be mad. They can only get mad at their own peoples. So I would say that. But let me get back into it. Yeah, they committed a genetic genocide on the Africans and the indigenous, especially the Taínos in a lot of these Latin countries. That's why I always tell a lot of these people, a lot of y'all are not, Taíno. And the reason why I say that a lot of them are not Taíno because they were genocide. Not everybody in Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, and all these other countries gen- um Taino, you know. Give me a second. Let me finish my notes, Dorsey, and I'll let you talk for 10, 15 minutes. 5, 10 minutes. I can't do 10, 15. I could do 5 to 10 minutes. Um the next column we will be talking about is Latinos not identifying and not supporting African culture. I always seen that as a problem. The reason why I always seen it as a problem because a lot of this stuff that they get from let me set up the back door. Just give me a second. Let me get through this stuff and definitely, yeah, you could get busy out here. But yeah, a lot of these people they don't support African culture. A lot of them only time they want to support African culture is when they can benefit off of it. I think you need to support it fully. You could say, yeah, I have, um, I have DNA from Africa, but you know, we have a subculture here. I would agree with that. I would agree with that, and I know a lot of Latinos don't do that. That's why me, I do support Afro Latinos, I do support them because at the end of the day, they're minorities of their own country. They what they're going through right now is what Black Americans is going through. But at the end of the day, ours is different from theirs. You know, it's different. It's similar, but it's very different. It is very different. Alliance are a good thing though. Peace is good. I wouldn't lie. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna have an alliance with Afro Latinos. Absolutely not. I will support them. I will cheer them on from the seats, but I'm not gonna fight their battles because at the end of the day, when they see a lot of this bullshit that's going on in this country, um, with Black Americans and with those people that do torment them, they don't say anything. such as Dominicans. Dominicans are actually beating down on Haitians. You know, it's none of my business, but I'm personally not going to support it. And the reason why, and I'm gonna say this: Dominicans are Haitian. I'm gonna be personally honest. I think they're Haitians. I think a lot of them have Haitian DNA. They just don't got the heart to fight like the Haitians. For the independence. I'm just gonna be personally honest about that. And I'm not trying to shade Dominicans, but at the end of the day, what they're doing is foul. But I'm not gonna put on a cape for Haiti either. Haitians don't like Black Americans like that. Some do. Like shout out to Jessie Wu from Miami. She supports Black Americans. She supports reparations. She supports foundational Black Americans. But I can only support her. I can only support her to a certain extent. I'm not gonna let nothing happen to her. She is little sis. Like I said, that certain people are half brothers and sisters. And those type of people like Jessie Wu, she's a half brothers and sisters, and I'm not gonna, kick in her back, because how her people feel about Black Americans. She understands, she recognized. So that's the thing. Latinos try to erase African culture. We see that with how they dance, how they move, the clothes, and their traditions. They try to erase African culture and say it's Spaniard or indigenous. You know, their cop out word is always indigenous or native. You know, um, and that's just how I look at it. Marco Polo discovered a map in the Imperial Polo, China. Marco Polo was Italian. 50 years later, Columbus is sponsored by Spain to find America. Yes, I agree with that, Dorsey. I do. I agree with that. And we're halfway always almost done too. So but yeah, I don't think they support African culture. That's just my opinion. That's my opinion and just what you see. You know, like I'm gonna be personally honest. You don't see Latinos caping, putting on a cape for Africans. I see that as a big problem, especially if you're saying that you have African DNA and both of y'all are in the same boat. You know, what's going on? Vitals in salute, salute. I do see that as a problem though. Another thing is Latinos and hold on, what I wrote? Oh, Latinos in entertainment always show the white Hispanic side than their African side, and most of that stuff comes with most of their culture is African. You know, even though they don't want to admit it, they want to say they're indigenous, but they have to understand a lot of those indigenous people would have been considered black. They would be considered black. They would be considered black. Because they had a subculture. I mean, they had a admixture. You know, what a lot of people be thinking of is Slavic Indians, the civilized tribes. The ones that look basically Asian. If you kind of put it this way, if you kind of look at certain Latinos, they do look Asian. You know, one one culture is Mexicans. They do look Asian to a certain extent. That's why when they cut their hair bald, sometimes you could what's going on? What's going on, Ray Ray? Salute, salute, salute. What's going on, Violas? Salute, salute, salute. But a lot of them can be considered, from the fucking Yakuza. Shout out to the Yakuza and stuff. But a lot of that stuff can a lot of that can be, so you streaming in YouTube? Yeah, I'm on YouTube as well too. Yeah, I stream on YouTube, Rumble, Kick, X. So I'm on those four channels right now. All you gotta do is look up my name on Rochelyn Perkins. You know. But yeah, it's Mexicans look Asian. Dear. No, no, like to a certain extent, some of them do look Asians. They look like. Let me give you an example. Give me a second. I'm gonna do something for you. All right. I want you to read something. Give me a second. Jesus Christ. I want you to read something. I'm gonna read something to you, and I'm gonna share my page. Like, and it's no disrespect. Like, y'all take it as it's a bad thing. So what? You know, some Black Americans look indigenous. Some Black Americans look African. Some Black Americans look compassed for white. You know, it's a lot of that stuff happens, man. You can't take that stuff as bad. Look at it. The primary difference is that Latinos described as a geographic, cultural ethnicity. People tracing their heritage to Latin America, whereas Asian is a broad racial continental classification. People trace their ancestries to Asia. Additionally, the two groups are not mutual exclusive, as many individuals identify as both. You know, and it's not a bad thing. That's um Black Snow Bunny King. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, yeah, a lot of Latinos have Asian DNA, and there's nothing wrong with that. Why do y'all? Let me ask y'all Pan Africans, you and foreign people. Why y'all take shit a bad way? You know, it's nothing wrong with that. It's like shit happens, man. Like, you know, give me a second. Yeah, shit, like shit happens, man. You know, like what's the white supremacist guy's name who comes on here all the time? Fucking the Irish cat. You know, that I call a potato slave for when I be joking around. I be telling him that he be saying, "Oh, yo, you're not fully black." He always say, "I'm not fully black." I don't take it as a bad thing because at the end of the day, I know I am an admixture of other things. You know, I don't have the African nose. You know, I don't have the African cheekbones and stuff like that. You know, so I don't have the African hair when I grow my hair out. So and there's nothing wrong with that. I am an admixture. So the fuck what? You know, is there's nothing wrong with that, man. Y'all got to stop taking stuff as an offense and just take it as, well, you know what? Maybe it's true. You know, like, let me ask you a question. Where do you think them red natives came from? I mean, not the red natives, the Slavic natives came from. They came from Asia. Why are they so short? Why are those native Indians so short? Those are the questions that you should ask. I'm not saying I'm right or wrong. I said this is just my personal belief that I think Latinos probably are mixed with Asian. They got some type of Asian DNA, you know? Which Latino nation is a superpower? Superpower and what? You know, that's the question you gotta ask. Superpower and what? You know, um, none. I don't think any are. So, but yeah, it's just, you know what? It's just a lot of people think it's a bad thing. You know, And I think that was always a problem with me and Latin people. Latino. Let's see, Latino. A lot Latinos mistreats the darker Latinos because of the color of their skin. Yeah, it's true. They do. They do. And the thing about it, like we joke around and stuff about our color and stuff like that, and but at the end of the day, we will always defend them. We won't tell you, oh, go get you a white boy so you can get lighter. We would never do that. In a million years, we would never do that because at the end of the day, we already know how those people are like, and how they treated us, especially the old school people. And I'm talking about the elders. This generation now, they're trying to forget slavery. They're trying to forget what happened, and they don't understand this shit happened probably two of their lifetimes ago. Yes. Get you away. Robin said, "Get yourself a white boy." It's like I'm gonna say this, Robin. You love who you love, man. I don't see nothing wrong with it. But at the end of the day, don't forget your culture. And I'm gonna be personally honest. Don't forget your culture. A lot of these people would want mixed babies and try to forget their culture. My daughter asks me crazy questions all the time. The question she asks me is, "What am I?" I'm like, "You're a Black American." You know, am I African? No, you're not African. You're a Black American. You know, your family came from Alabama and Georgia. Even North Carolina and Virginia, but most of your family came from Georgia and Alabama. Your family is also native. So yeah. Which is so it's like I have to tell the truth. What part of Africa you're from? Am I from? I like, baby, you're not from Africa. What made you think you was from Africa? Because of you. I'm not African. The fuck? Do I got African DNA? Yeah. Everybody got African DNA, baby. Even white folks. Like Robin got African DNA. He probably got a small percentage of it, but he does have African DNA. So it's this. If Robin really wanted to put it this way, the way how y'all Pan Africans, y'all black supposedly nationalists, you black nationalists, I just call y'all Democrats. Um, Give me a second, Robin. You gonna make me forget. But for y'all to say, yeah, we're from Africa, and when we ask you what part of Africa we're from, and you say, oh, maybe the western part, western and central part, that's not that's really vague. That's not really telling us where we're from and where is our culture. So if you do that, Robin can say, oh yeah, I'm from Africa. Robin can say, I'm from Africa. And you can't get mad at him if he can't find out what part of Africa he's from, because you just gave black Americans a vague answer somewhere probably in Western or Central Africa. That's what y'all gave us. So it looks crazy when y'all do say that. Right, right. Brazil is a Timo superpower. To a certain extent. They will have to call the National Guard on Yo, Robin's Congolese. Thank you, Robin. See? Robin can see now Robin can say he's African, you know? Robin can say he's African. Thank you, Robin. And Robin is what? Irish, English. And this is what Robin said. I'm from Congo. Yes, I am 3% African. Thank you, Robin. And this is the things that I always tell people. I was like, yo, you go by that broad brush. When white people try to claim Africa, you can't get mad. You know. So now the question is, did white people or Europeans attack their own people in Africa, since they got 3-4% of African blood or DNA? That's the question you got to ask. Thank you, Robin. I do appreciate that, my friend. Um, Brazil built tanks, jets, helicopters, cars, trains. Facts. Shout out to Brazil, man. Y'all doing y'all thing. Y'all countries in shambles right now since the Olympics. But y'all maintain. Y'all figure it out. I think y'all would figure it out. Give me a second. Yeah, y'all would figure it out. Yeah, y'all would figure it out. Um, the towards our phone. Yo, thank you, thank you. H9K. Yeah, I didn't know that. Thank you, thank you. But let me finish these notes. I'm almost done, everybody. Uh, next caller I will be talking about is Latino community in Americas against Black Americans community. What I'm gonna be talking about is the Latino relationship with Black Americans. What I would say is I don't think we ever had a great relationship with them. We fucked with some of them, We fucked with a lot of them, Not all of them, not even a lot. We'll fuck with a good portion of them, you know, the ones that just see us as their brothers. So I do understand that, but the Latino community gangs target the innocent black community. They didn't target the gang members. They target the innocent. You know, this is why there was Bloods in New York that we were figuring it out. That what's my man said? V for Vengeance told us. Even Kwame, that I didn't even believe it, but Kwame and Vengeance said it. He said, "Yo, the reason why the Bloods was formed was because of these Latin gangs and how they felt about Black Americans and what they were doing to people in jail." So we got to be personally honest about that. They have never been great towards Black people, and that's why I called Be Active a liar. I like Be Active. You're a liar. You're a liar. I was like, the guy who defends you, Kwame, has said that y'all was oppressing Black inmates. Oh no, it wasn't all of us. But y'all was in jail. Y'all was in a group. Y'all did it, and this is why the Bloods was formed. Um, Latinos push white supremacy. Wish white supremacy ideology to target Black Americans. And this is where that colorism comes in. Black Americans don't believe in the colorism. We never had a color line. If you were black, you were black. A lot of these Latins did, because don't forget about the genetic genocide I was talking about when they were at war. They put the Africans in the front. And look where even with Puerto Rico, what a lot of those Africans, they defertilized them. So what they did to the women were they basically they neutered them. They tied their tubes so they wouldn't have babies. And that this is just the dark side of Puerto Rican culture that they don't talk about, and like I said, it's not to shit on them, but this is what happened in their history. This is why a lot of these Puerto Ricans had to fight hard in their country in the early 1900s. Because this is the stuff that they were going through. That's why if you ever see the Puerto Rican flag and it was all black and white, that's what that was for. It was never red, white, and blue. It was black and white. So there's a reason why that a lot of those Puerto Ricans done that. you know so it's, as I said, Latinos, don't take it the bad way, because at the end of the day, y'all have fought against colorism. You know, did y'all win? I don't know. I'm not the one that can tell that story. You know, personally, I would tell you to talk to a truthful person who is Latin, who would tell you the truth about colorism and stuff like that. You know, and as I always tell people, the most beautiful Latin women are the dark skinned ones. That's just always been me. The most beautiful ones has always been the dark skinned ones. You know, do some of these bitches have blonde hair, blue eyes, or green eyes? Yeah, that's cool and everything. But the most sexiest ones is the African, dark skinned looking Latino women. You know, so this is what I'm gonna say. This is what they done to their own people. You know, true. Latin women are beautiful. Yeah, let me tell you, Shabaka. I mean, Robin. A lot of women are beautiful. A lot of cultures have beautiful women. So it's not like, oh yeah, there's one culture that just have all ugly women. No, every culture has some type of beautiful woman. You know, and that's what we have to understand. But yeah, it's that's something that they had to go through. They pushed the white supremacy ideology. Like, let's personally be honest. Why do you think in prisons, even out in the streets, a lot of these Latino gangs, you know, they have their alliance with white supremacists, skinheads, the Aryan Brotherhood, you know, and this is where I always explain to people, like, yo, this shit is serious. It has always been serious, but a lot of us looked at it as, oh yeah, they are people because we all got off the slave ship. No, nigga, not all of us got off that slave ship. And the only time they want to talk about a fucking slave ship is when they want to benefit off a black struggle or black accomplishment, or if they need help. Like, let me give you a question. Why you think it's so abnormal where you got a person like Mexican OT? He think he's validated of saying, yo, nigga, 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 and he don't think nothing's wrong with it. It's because he doesn't come from the culture. He don't come from that cloak. And this is why I always tell people all the time, yeah, you go on and say it. I don't mind if you say it. But if somebody put hands on you, don't think I'm a cape for you. I'm gonna pull out the phone and put it on YouTube so we could all see it. The fuck? You think I'm gonna jump out the fucking window for any of y'all motherfuckers to say the nigga word so y'all can feel comfortable saying nigga? Go on and say it. But niggas put hands on you. If nigga pack you out, niggas pack you out, black people pack you out. I'm pulling that phone out. I'm pulling the phone out. If that hood girl pull you by your hair onto that floor, I'm pulling out the phone. I'm not defending anybody. I only defend my people. That's it. I'm just being personally honest with you. I'm not saving nobody. Go on and say it. Yeah, they do like to H9K. Yes, they do. They like to practice it, but I'm not saving nobody. I'm not saving anybody. Being black is not an interchangeable thing. It has never been an interchangeable thing. So y'all figuring out the hard way. Y'all figuring out the hard way. So that's why I always tell people, I'm not saving you. I'm here for shine time. It's shine time out here. It's shine time out here. Um the next one is certain Latinos push black stereotypes onto the black American community. Call us welfare babies, Say we don't got no baby daddy. They think we're slaves. Like they say crazy shit about us. They say crazy shit about it. It is straight. Like I said, it's straight. Because you know what? We already told you. And the thing about it, niggas saved you with Donald Trump, and y'all still didn't take the emergency fucking vote. We told you get the fuck out of there. Don't vote for this nigga. He's trying to send y'all niggas back. You thought, and this is how dumb these niggas is. This is how dumb a lot of these Latinos are. They thought Black Americans was going back into slavery because CNN told them. They got so happy, especially these Cubans. Mm, 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 mm. I don't know which ones is worse, the Mexicans or the Cubans. I'm gonna be personally honest. I don't know the difference. I can't tell which one is the worst. You know, and they got. I'm gonna say this: y'all got what y'all deserve. Y'all voted for the raggedy motherfucker. We told you not to. I personally said I don't care. I hope he does become president, so these niggas could get a rude awakening. You got me on. You could go back on my shows with me saying that shit. I told y'all like, yo, Kamala would have never been a better president either, but at least she would have still been giving y'all niggas money. But the problem is a lot of these Latinos want to please the white man. You know, they do. They want to please the white supremacists, the skinheads. You know, even these Ku Klux Klan members. And a lot of these Ku Klux Klan members don't know those sheets and all that other stuff. That shit came from the Moors. That came from black people. Y'all out here copying the Moors. How the fuck y'all are white Christians and y'all running around here with a white sheet and the Moors was doing that? Not with a white sheet though. Check history. This is why history is so important, and this is why I always tell y'all a lot of these people who talk about IQ don't have good IQ. Cause you could remember, what is said in a fucking book. Don't mean you got good IQ. Uh, um, Snow Bunny King, you're missing the point, man. I know you're trolling. But it's true. A lot of these white supremacists. I mean, a lot of these Latino gangs and gang members in these racist Latinos, they did it to please white supremacists. They thought they were gonna get put on a pedestal, like, yo, that's my brother. That Mexican guy is my brother. What's going on, Born Enemy? Salute, salute. That's what they thought, and they just got a rude awakening. Yeah, I think so. They want the money runs. Like all times. Yeah, they do, Dorsey. They want that money. No. The Moors didn't. A lot of those Moors wasn't considered African. Born. Black Snow Bunny King. I will say this: they were considered Israelites. I know you don't like the Hebrew Israelites. A lot of people don't like the Hebrew Israelites, but that was people. The people consider the Moors that, and the Moors is technically a Latin word. I'm almost done, Dorsey. I'm almost done. I got two more. I got 1.5 more columns, and we're done. And you could. I'll let you talk to five for 10 minutes. Uh, there have never been a black and brown coalition. There has never been a black and brown coalition. No, I'm being honest. Black Snow Bunny King. They were considered Israelites. You know, in history. That's. I'm not saying that. That's what they were saying. They were Israelites. So I'm gonna be frank with you too. Um, an Israelite can be a Jamaican. Black Snowbody King. So it's I'm not a Moor. I don't consider myself a Moor. Do I think there were Moors in America? Yes, I think there were Moors in America because don't forget the Moors built Europe. The Moors were, royalty, was of royalty. They had inventions, they had technology before everybody. So it's not far fetched. I will say that, Snow Bunny King. Don't forget the Moors was the ones that had the boats. The Moors was the ones that built Spain, Europe. I mean Spain, Scotland, um, Britain. That's why it was look. That's why it was looked down upon a Moor if they marry a, a Caucasian woman because they said that they were cave animals. They were animals. They were walking on fours. They taught them how to dress. They taught them how to walk on two. You know, and it's no disrespect. This is just what this was. This is what they were saying in history. This is what the Moors were saying. The Caucasian man was walking on fours. They had red hair on them, and the Moors civilized them to a certain extent. You know, and like I said, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but this is what they were saying in history. So only in the bedroom was the black and brown coalition. I agree with you that H9K. I'm gonna put yours what you said up. He said only in the bedroom was there black and brown coalition. Shout out to H9K. Yeah, Shakespeare recorded the Moors' influence. Yes, and I think personally, I'm gonna be personally honest. I think William Shakespeare was a melanated person. I'm just gonna be personally honest. I think he was a melanated person. Othello, yes, Othello still have still have chills. But this is what they were saying. This is not from me. I don't want people to think, oh, yo, look what Rocha is saying about white folks. No, this is what This is what the Moors wrote about Caucasians, or also known as cave dwellers, as what they called them. So give me a second, everybody. I'm gonna try to switch over on something. Nope, didn't work. But yeah, it is. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, probably. He probably was. Shakespeare. Yeah, probably. A lot of those, Dorsey. A lot of those people in those times were switch hitters. So I wouldn't be surprised. Why? Why is can't stay away from animals? Who's your boyfriend? Leave the white girlfriends sleep over. Yeah, they used to call that bestiality. You know, I, yeah, they used to call that bestiality. The Moors. The Moors were. I'm gonna say, what's going on, Miss Ramirez? How's everything? Dorsey. I'm at work. Just wanted to see what y'all guys are talking about. We're talking about. Give me a second. Um, do some of the do some of the Latino community support the white supremacy ideas? Um, it's an abnormal question because I think I forgot who I got this question from. I don't know if it was Be Active or was it Shabaka, but it's a part two of I think what we were talking about on Monday. But shout out to you, definitely. What are you guys talking about? Yeah, it's a funny, it's a dope topic, definitely. So I actually made points. I made bullet points right now. I'm almost done with them because I know Dorsey wants to talk. So another thing that we will be talking about, because this is another column, Latinos community will never support the Black American community. Most of them won't support the Black American community because I don't know what it is, but that's what she. Yeah, Miss Ramirez, what do you think? Do you think do you think most? I want because we do got writers out here that are Latinos, especially the dude from Cuba, the Afro-Cuban dude. Uh, I pulled a video about him probably like 9 months ago, but his videos are starting to come up now. Do you think? Do you think we'll start getting a big majority of Latinos supporting Black Americans, or would you think it will always be a division? Right now, I think it has always been a division, but I think the only time we have unity is when they need help. You know, like the illegals need help. But yeah, so that's the question I have for you, Miss Ramirez. The Latinos had Hugo Chavez, and he turned out to be a sexual assault per. Um, yeah, I heard about that. Born Enemy, but I will say this. Just out of the defense, was it consensual? Because certain Latino culture, they could mess with 14, 15-year-old girls, just like the French. You know, the French was out. I'm going to say this, at least 15, 20 years ago, the French had an outrage because they wanted to make the consent of consensual sex the age of 14. You know, so yeah, that it's if it's that's their culture, that I can't say, oh well, this is American laws. We can't put American laws on Latino laws and culture. A division. Yeah, I think there is a division. Hugo Chavez, if he like young girls, he probably does like young girls because, like I said, some of that is a part of certain people's culture. You know, it is a white. Oh, okay. Dorsey, you might could be right. You know, they did the same thing to Martin Luther King. You know, personally, I don't give a fuck if Martin Luther King liked white women. Um, but did he try to help the black community? Absolutely. You know, it's not like I don't care if Martin Luther King was trying to bring a few, Becky's down for a pound town, trying to come down, come to the city of, Pound Town City, fuck it, So do they say about Martin Luther? Yeah, it's. I will always say this. They will always say that about black and maybe even brown civil rights leaders, but you see how they defend Charlie Kirk, and he was an uneducated college dropout mediocre podcaster, shock jock podcaster. So it's yeah, it's different. Like even look at Fidel Castro. They made that man look so evil, but at the end of the day, he was in Harlem chilling out with black people. And I think Fidel Castro was from fucking Argentina. I don't even think he was Cuban. I think he was Argentinian. And he fought for Cubans. He fought for black Americans, And those are those writers that I do talk about. Miss Ramirez said division. I think there's gonna be a division too. Miss Ramirez. I think it's going to take a long time. Once Black Americans get reparations and laws, I think this is where we can start fixing things. And the thing about it, as I always tell people all the time, I don't think the white community can fix anything by themselves. I don't even think they can fix their community. I'm gonna be personally honest. I don't think they can fix their own community. I don't even think they can fix their race. There's always gonna be fighting, chaos, murders. There's gonna be bodies hitting the floor and stuff because of them. So yeah, what's going on, mind of Sean? Salute, player. Um, but yeah, it's I don't think I think it's always gonna be that. It's just and this is the reason why I say that about the white community. I'm not saying it's not possible, but do you think the white supremacists or the white community and or white community can put their self behind and say, yo, you know what, we're gonna follow these white people and they're gonna bring us to the promised land? I doubt if they do that, especially when there's so many different types of white people. You got conservatives, you got liberals, you got Democrats, you got Republicans, you got Green, you got Independents. At least with all those Black Americans who are those type of people, we can work amongst each other. You know, we could put our differences aside and say, like, okay, hold on, let's try to solve this problem of what's going on. And I'm not talking about like Candace Owens, and there are gonna be some coons that will just fuck it up, but it's Black Americans could do that. Bronze was arguing with Shabaka that he doesn't beg the white man for anything, yet Bronze and the rest of the FBA folks are still begging. That's not begging for reparations. That's fighting for reparations. You know, um, I think your terminology and your definitions are wrong, Black Snow Bunny King. And a lot of y'all Caribbeans and Africans do shit like that. There's a difference between begging, you know. I'm just being personally honest. The only thing we're saying is pay us what you owe us. We don't want no more. We don't want no less. We want what you owe our ancestors. That's it. There's nothing wrong with that. You begging for help, like Israel Torah is doing, Abraham Torah is doing. He's begging for help. Instead of getting help from his own people, he goes out and asks for help with Russia, America, stuff like that, and he's already denigrating them. So it's we're not looking for a slave master. That's the difference. Even your country, you're from Jamaica. If I was Jamaican, I would want the Englishmen out of there and set up my own infrastructure. That's just me coming from a Black American point of view. So yeah, control your own imports and exports. And let me tell you something: FBAs are the only people with humanity, with the breath of life as a whole. Debate that, yeah, that the rest of the world ethnic groups are inhumane, barbarians. Facts. I agree with you that born enemy. I do agree with you there. Uh, as Dorsey called Jamaicans cowards. All right, let's finish up. Latinos never wanted to help Black Americans with social issues. They wanted to always be white in America. I do agree with that. The talking points I do have shows the evidence of that, and the reason why, and not all, please, not all, but a lot of these people that don't, and I'm even say even some Afro Latinos. Like for example, like what's the name? Chud the Builder's sister. That lady's a Mexican. That lady's a Mexican fighting for white acceptance. Who else? Nick Flintez, he's fighting for white acceptance. So who's it? Ron DeSantos fighting for white acceptance. We can even go out of the Latin community. Michelle Wu fighting for white acceptance. A lot of these people fight for white acceptance. You know, and Michelle Wu is the mayor of Boston. She fight for white acceptance. That's why she fucked Boston up. She fucked Boston up, and I would never, I would never say anything different. You had this white man or this Italian or Irish guy fix Boston, and it took him 25 years. She destroyed it within 10 years. Never, not even Jamaicans want to be in Jamaica with a what is it? You're talking. Shout out to Ray Ray. Latinos try to whitewash Latino culture and social issues. Yes, John Lizambo, if I'm saying his name right, and he's a great actor. He's a very great actor, but his social skills suck. His social justice skills suck, and the misinformation that he's given other Latinos, I think, is very dangerous. I will say that I think it's very, very dangerous. Um, Latinos anti-black culture targets the Black American community to support the white supremacy. You know, um, I think that's true. Like these people in New York, I think a lot of those Latinos in New York, and not all, there are some cool New York Spanish New Yorkers, but a lot of them they push the white ideology, such as Fat Joe. Fat Joe didn't want to be black until he started benefiting off of it before he started getting himself into situation. Yeah, we don't claim Candace Owens. No, absolutely not. I would never claim Candace Owens. Number one got number one got to stop looking for white people to accept cause they don't have to accept you. They must respect you, so you have to take it. Yes, the mind of Sean. Yo, you're right. Let me put this up here, man. I think you are right. I personally think you're right. You know, you're right about that. I think that's the only downfall of the Latinos. They're not looking for respect. They're looking for acceptance. I think they do need to fix that. I think that's very dangerous. I think it's very dangerous game that they're playing for their people. I know a lot of people don't accept it or support it. I mean, I know some don't accept it or support it, but it's a very small percentage. I know people that don't accept that. They just want to be respected. So yeah. Latino politicians, influencers, and entertainers have been against black culture and people. Also even their own Afro-Latino people too, in certain bias. So I think that has always been a problem with Latinos. And I think the people who suffered the most when it comes to certain things like that was Afro Latinos. I think they suffered a lot um I think they suffered a lot because of that bull. You know, and that's something that they will have to fix. You know, but Dorsey, call up. I know you want to call up. Call up, and I'm opening up the floodgates, giving everybody 5 minutes. So call up if you want to talk. If not, I'll just start the show. Mm, 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 mm.
Call from
Dorsey.
to
What's going on, Dorsey?
Hey, top of the morning to you, Bronze.
What's going on?
Hey, can they hear me this time, Bronze? Because we had a conversation one time and they couldn't hear me.
Let me see. What's my remote? Let's see.
call from
What's going on, Dorsey?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you.
Okay. So, I'm just going to do a quick backdrop. You know what I'm saying? Okay, first of all, when Marco Polo went to China and sat down with the Emperor of China and went into his map room, he discovered there was a map of America. It was the west coast of California because in the year 800 AD, the Chinese emperor at that time sent an excursion of boats and they sailed all the way from China up through Japan, up through the Aleutian Islands, over to Canada, all the way down to Oregon and California coast, and came back, and there was a map. Marco Polo saw that map, so he knew that there was something in between the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm.
He went and took that information back to Italy. It then became in the hands of Christopher Columbus, and he went to the people in Spain and said, "Hey, I got this map. If you give me some coins, I'll go and I'll explore, and whatever I find over here, y'all can have.
Mm.
I just want to split."
Mm.
And that's how it came about as far as the European excursion. But see, you also got to understand that at the same time, at 800 AD, motherfucking Vikings was over in Nova Scotia.
Mm.
You know, Iceland, Greenland, all that.
Yeah.
They were exploring Northern America and mixing with the Siberians.
Mm.
The Siberian Indians, you know what I'm saying? The Redskins, right?
Yeah.
Because see, they didn't cross over into America like with the Iroquois, the Macagion, the Wampanoag, all of them. They never got that point where them black skin, them FBA Indians was. You understand where I'm coming from?
Mm-hmm.
So when they mixed with them, that put the European DNA into the gene pool as far as to the north.
Mm.
So that's why a lot of Europeans claim Cherokee and all that because they figured through their European ancestors that came through the Vikings that they have a claim to be an American. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so now get back on focus. The reason why South America is the way it is because on the Atlantic side of the coast of South America, it was influenced by the imperialistic uh, powers of Europe.
Mm.
Okay, all along Brazil and Argentina, all that was. You ever heard of Franco
Franco. Last name.
Jerusalem Franco?
Nah.
The Spanish Revolution.
Nah. Nah. Nah.
He was one of Hitler's best friends,
Mm, mm, mm.
along with Mussolini. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when Franco had the Spanish Civil War, they asked for Germany help in order to bomb what was called the Loyalists because they were they were they were behind the king and all that. But Franco, it was like a coup. Just then got hold of not only Spain but Portugal also. And see, Brazil belongs to Portugal.
Mm,
It used to be a colony. So when World War II broke out, Germany sent its battleship, the Bismarck, to port in Brazil because Brazil said they was neutral, but in fact they was in favor of Germany.
mm.
So people from my era, they
Robert
remember
Downey
the
Jr.
movie with Gregory Peck called The Boys from Brazil, meaning that all them Germans that moved to Brazil and became fascist. That's why Brazil has that paramilitary police force.
Mm,
You know, them niggas got helmets and jeeps. Them niggas ain't like the regular police.
mm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Ain't no officer friendly. It's officer friendly Billy Club and Jack Boots.
Mm,
So that is how they control the black populations of Brazil, of South America, through fascism and extermination.
mm-hmm.
Now, when you know we was talking about superpowers, well, Brazil is a superpower of the South, and it
Mm.
used to collaborate with South Africa, another Tamu superpower.
I think Cuba did too. Cuba was a superpower at one point. That's when they had Fidel
Exactly.
Castro. But once Fidel
Right. We
Castro
talking about
died,
Tamu. Uh huh.
yeah, once Fidel Castro died, it got weak. That's why you have had Americans going into Cuba now. At a time,
Yeah, but see, like you said Castro was from Argentina.
yeah,
Didn't you just say that?
yeah, I think he's from Argentina. Let me check.
Okay, so he had that fascist mindset also. Dictator. You see where I'm coming from? And he told them white folks in America what they wanted to hear to get their
Oh
backing.
no, no, he was born in Cuba. He was born in Cuba. It was somebody else that was a politician in Cuba.
Oh, okay. So when he got that backing from America, he flipped the script and said, "No, no, Yankee dog, we don't need your help no more."
Hmm.
Okay, so going back to the fact that on at this time in World War I and World War II, imperialism was at its motherfucking finest.
Oh shit,
Now that's on the
his
Atlantic.
father, his father was a real Spaniard. His father was from Spain.
Yeah, but see, you let me make the other side of the point. On the other side, on the Pacific, that means the Peru, Colombia, Mexico, Japan was playing an influence on their ass.
Hmm.
Two imperialistic uh, empires, one Japanese, one German and Italian.
Let me ask you a question. Let
Fascism.
me ask you a question. Was Since we know all of this, was Fidel Castro still a writer?
Yeah, he was a writer.
Man, that's all I wanted to say.
I mean, you have to understand. Fidel Castro was trying his best to get because see, Cuba was resource poor
Hmm.
in some aspects. Because you know it's not that big. It's a big island, but it ain't big enough to self sustain,
Like, let me give you an example. Let me
industrialize.
give some of the audience an example. Say if you're on a lot of pills in America and you're paying hundreds of $1,000s for pills. You go to Cuba, you're paying tens to twenties to probably less than $100 for all your pills that you need for in Cuba. That's the difference between us and them. We're not gonna pay. If you're in Cuba, you're not paying all that money for all those pills. They're gonna try to help you. You know, their health insurance. I mean, their health. Their what is it? Their hospitals are decent. It's not like American hospitals, but they're decent hospitals where you can still survive. Go on, Dorsey.
Yeah, but you got to understand the racism that was in Cuba. Those are the ones when Fidel Castro came in office, he liberated the black Cubans,
Mm-hmm.
the ones that was getting dogged out. All the racist Cubans, the ones who was what I think the dude's name was what, Bastille or whatever his name was,
Mm-hmm.
the president before Cuban overthrew the government, his people was racist as fuck too.
Mm.
They was torturing people and shit, forcing people into prostitution,
Mm-hmm.
along with the U.S. mob.
Yep. And I'm gonna say this.
Because Cuba used to be their little motherfucking pirates den.
Yep. And Cubans. I mean, Fidel Castro sent a lot of niggas for jail. Was this on some stupid shit? Maybe niggas go to jail for stupid shit in America for stupid laws. You know. But
No,
at the end,
what Castro did was he brought order. He was like, nah, you motherfuckers, just because you motherfuckers free, don't mean that you get to tear up shit.
mm-hmm.
This ain't Puerto Rico.
Yep.
Fuck you think it is?
And that's why
Puerto Rico can't get his shit together.
mm-hmm. And also too, we also got to say this. Jimmy Carter. The only thing I think Jimmy Carter fucked up when he got into Cuba's business. Once he got into Cuba business and told them, if you do not like Cuba and try to shit on Cuba, if you do not like Cuba and their government, you could come to America. What Castro did, what Fidel Castro did, he let all the prisoners, the rapists, the killers out of prison, the thieves, and told them, if you don't leave this country, you're going to jail. Where do you think they went? Where y'all think they went?
They went to Florida. What the fuck do you think?
Florida, Chicago. They went to
Yeah, but see, you got to understand.
well,
Jimmy Carter was still under influence of the old Democratic Party.
mm,
You got to remember, JFK had promised Cuba that they were going to be free.
yeah.
Then the Bay of Pigs happened, and then JFK said, "No, I'm not for the cause no nuclear war over no fucking Cuba."
Yeah. And this is the time when
So
Cuba was
then
getting busy too.
you
Don't forget,
you
Cuba
know
was
how
getting
you
busy
have
at
what
that
they
time, too.
call white guilt, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Jimmy Carter was what you would call that white guilt. So Jimmy Carter was like, "Hey man, we know we feel bad for you. We wish we could make y'all free. And if you can jump your happy ass on a rubber inner tube, we'll let you in."
Yep.
Okay? So he took them in. So at first they kind of like trickled in, 12 here, 8 here, whoever could make it on an inner tube or a door or whatever kind of boat they make, they going to get here, right?
Yep.
Well, Castro was like, "Oh, okay. Since y'all want to be goody two-shoe, take all these worthless motherfuckers with you."
Mm-hmm. He opened the jails.
And he flooded them, right?
Yep, he opened the jails too.
Knowing that the U.S. at the time was going through a motherfucking crisis.
Mm. Oh yeah.
You got to understand, we was just barely getting over Nixon. So unemployment was like high as fuck, like 8% and shit.
Mm.
The steel mills was closing down and all that shit. Unemployment, inflation. So Castro was like, "Okay, let me throw this on your motherfucking, on your doorstep. Let me see how, since y'all talking about y'all take in anybody, let us see what you do in that." So then when they came in, that fucked Jimmy Carter up, because then people was like, you got all these motherfuckers, all these Scarface niggas running up in here.
Mm-hmm. Do you think?
So then
let me ask you a
Ronald
question.
Reagan
Let me ask
came
you a
in.
question. Do you think that's where Scarface came from?
Yeah, because you got to remember, cocaine was coming up in this bad boy too.
Because Jimmy Carter opened up the fucking borders.
Hey man, Jimmy Carter opened up his nose, nigga. That nigga wasn't opening
Yeah.
up no borders. Jimmy Carter did cocaine. The nigga told Playboy magazine. Now what Playboy? Now think about it, bro. What president gonna get on Playboy Hustler magazine? It was Hustler, my bad. Even more scummier, right?
Hmm.
Where they show the inside. That's one thing they said about Playboy. It only showed the outside. Hustler was like, we want to see your gut.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? So Jimmy Carter, Larry Flynn, remember Larry Flynn,
Yeah, I remember
the
Larry
dude they
Flynn.
shot and put in the wheelchair?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
did an interview with them.
Mm.
So Jimmy Carter was like, I'm reaching out to the rednecks in the motherfucking nation. Vote for me. I'm a peanut farmer. You see
Well,
where I'm coming from?
one more minute. One more minute.
So back to the thing about South America. They have always been anti-black because we were the Aborigines who, those big old heads they find in the Yucatan
The
with the big
Omax.
broad noses and the
Omax.
thick ass lips.
The Omax.
Yeah, the old man. That's into antiquity. That means from ancient motherfucking time.
Mm.
And they mad because after everything went to pot, those motherfucking statues still stand
20 more
and they
seconds. 20 more
endure.
seconds.
And that's what the emperors wanted them to do because they started to find out each face that's on them balls were chiefs and emperors of that empire.
10 more seconds,
And
Dorsey.
the, and because people of black people rule this land.
Mm.
The Europeans had to come and tear this shit down and cover shit up and rebuild it and destroy history and destroy, just like they did in Egypt. They came and they destroyed shit. When America seen that Europe was in chaos with Napoleon, America said, we finna grab some shit. That's why they took Texas. Then they took California. Then they had the Mexican-American War where they went all the way down to Mexico City kicking ass.
Thanks, Dorsey. We got to start the show. Thank you for your last word.
Spreading racism and spreading
Dorsey.
racism to all parts of Latin America.
Dorsey. Yeah, starts the show. I'm on the time span right now.
Yeah, go ahead,
Hey,
man. I'm just letting you know where the racism shit come from. The Asians and the motherfucking Europeans poison the mind of the people of South America to hate black folks.
let me
Keeping this shit real.
let me ask
Bye.
you. Let me ask you. Oh, okay. Go.
Okay, no. What's the question?
Do you think it's far fetched what I said to Snow Bunny King? I said, a lot of these, like, even Mexicans, they have Asian blood.
Yeah, well, see, you have to understand. California set a law back in 1880s forbidding Asian women to step foot on American soil
Mm.
in California.
Oh, okay.
So the Chinese dudes, the coolies, the niggas who was building the railroad tracks and all that shit, they went down and married Mexican women,
Mm. Thank you, Dorsey.
causing animosity between the Latinos and the Chinos here on the West Coast.
Oh, okay.
Because Mexican men don't like Chinese because they came down here and bought up the women.
Mm.
That's why you see a lot of Mexicans with the little Asian
Hey,
look
hey, Dorsey.
because
Somebody's calling.
uh
Somebody's calling in. Give me a second. Who's this? Somebody called in. Give me a second, everybody. Somebody just called in. Give me a second, everybody. Give me a second, everybody. Because we're about to start this show. I don't know. This is Convo. I don't think I ever had it through one.
What up, though?
Hey, what's Convo?
Yeah.
What's going on, Convo?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. So, what you want to say about the topic?
You know how I feel about Latinos. I ain't gotta go into that. You know what's up. I
Yeah,
just wanted to say what's up to my family and kick it with my man Dorsey.
yeah,
Dorsey, man, you doing good. I love that, man. You dropping knowledge like all the time, man.
yeah. Definitely,
How y'all
definitely.
doing tonight?
We're good. We're good. We're good over here. I was telling them because it's a different question. It's something that we have talked about, but it's a second question from the question that we had. Second topic that we had from I think Monday about Latino. Give me a second. I'll let you know. I think it was Monday. The one saying that should Black Americans, foundational Black Americans, support Black and Brown immigrants? It's another topic from what we had on Monday. It was actually a good
Hell
topic.
yeah.
What happened?
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, it was just a secondary question, because it was actually a good topic. But do you think they got a white supremacist ideology?
Yeah, all day. You know how I feel about them. Yeah, we've been already through this about
Mm,
about these Latinos. They
yeah.
be like Latinos. What I mean, these guys right here ain't trying to be with us. They ain't, I'm out with them amongst them all the time. They not trying to hang with you. I
Mm.
mean, I know you probably got some Latino friends. I ain't got none.
Oh, I got friends all over. I have friends and associates, all other colors and
Yeah,
stuff
I
like
know.
that.
That's why you're sympathetic to them.
No, no.
I can't be sympathetic to them at all. I ain't even tripping. I just know that how they really feel.
I think you're
I
a
know they
little
be
bit more
smiling.
sympathetic than me,
They be
Combo.
having face me, and you can come and get this cooch. But all I know is they just trying to mess up my lineage or whatever. So I got to make sure that we ain't playing in the snow no more, and we stay over here where we supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? With my FBA brothers and sisters.
Mm.
Well, my sisters or whatever. You know what I'm saying? My brothers is cool and stuff, but there ain't no homo and shit. I'm over here trying to get with my FBA sisters. You know what I mean? Procreate with them, try to make babies with them, marry them.
Mm.
What y'all trying to do?
Um, I'm saying this. I'm more realistic when it comes to certain things, such as when I said, do they have a white supremacist ideology? Yes, because they want acceptance. We don't need acceptance. We just need respect. As I think Sean said it. Sean said it the best. Mind of Sean said it the best. He said, Latinos look for acceptance. We don't look for acceptance. This is why you have the what's his name? Nick Flintez. That's why we just found out Chuck the Builder's sister, that girl who said that's his sister, she's a
Mm-hmm.
Mexican. She's a Mexican. That's why we had
Yeah,
yeah, that's a
that's
Latino.
wild.
That's a
Yeah, man.
Latinos. And they pulled our card. Who else? What's his name? The Mexican cop who got fired. So I'm more realistic with it. Are there a few riders? Yeah, there are a few riders, but I don't think there's a lot of people that do support, Black Americans. You
No,
know,
it's just us.
yeah,
We
absolutely.
ain't got no allies, and if they trying to be our allies, we got to think about their agenda, what they came for. Now, if they come for the right reasons, and it ain't all about because I love y'all, it's because they got something in it for them,
Yeah,
and we got to understand it's all a negotiation. You know what I mean? It's all a negotiation.
no,
But see, that's how it's supposed to have been from the jump.
yeah.
But you know how it is, man. It's crazy.
I
All
personally,
I'm saying is I love the show. The show was
thanks.
great the other day. I heard. And I'm sorry I couldn't be there the whole show, but I'm probably gonna check out the replay to see what I missed.
Well,
That's why I like that you want to, you dropping content on YouTube.
yeah, I drop content on four different apps. I do it on Kick, I do it on Rumble, I do it on X, and I do it on YouTube. So definitely it's getting put out there. So definitely shout out to you and thank you for always supporting. So definitely, you know,
Hell yeah, we got to keep that content going.
yeah. That's why I
Now, as
had
far
I.
as Shabaka,
That's why
I
I.
don't want to mess with him because he's too old for me to be messed with. I don't want to put him in the hospital. You know how he is. He
Yeah.
got a messed up ticker. He got that white that male nurse, and he supposed to be a Pan African and stuff. That stuff is just ridiculous. I'll be laughing at that man. So he like easy work. You know how my boy be saying like easy work, Shabaka. I ain't worried about
Yeah.
you, man. Black King, man, come on the panel one day, Black King, and let's go ahead and let's have a nice little debate, and we can go ahead and get you all cooked up too. Because I know you be in the comments a lot talking about what you think you know, but you know what I'm saying? You just a younger Shabaka. We want the young Shabaka. The old Shabaka, I'll be mad if that nigga turn around, man. I'm in the hospital. I'm like, damn, I know exactly why you in the hospital. Because I had to cook your ass. Put you in a headlock. You don't want that. You don't want that from me, man. You don't want that from me. That's why I be laughing, Shabaka.
The thing.
Dorsey, he'll come and holler at you. Dorsey on your level though. Dorsey, he probably like 10 years or 20 years younger than you.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know what I'm saying? You probably can mess with Dorsey. But me, I'm like 50, like 10, 20, 30 years younger than you, man. Shabaka, man, I ain't that old, man. I had your ass in the hospital in a minute, dog. I don't want to cook you like that, Shabaka. I
the,
just be laughing at you when you be in the chat. I just want you to know that, Shabaka. That stuff be funny to me, Shabaka. You don't be cooking nothing. You don't even be cooking with nothing. And my man Roadshow, this the man that said the revenue won a damn debate. So you know what that comes from.
who won the
You
debate?
coming from the same man that said, hey, man, Revenue won at least one debate. Revenue ain't won not one debate. Not nan one.
With
I
who?
just seen Revenue get cooked on another channel over there on TikTok. He came over on TikTok. Where I see Revenue at? Man, Revenue came on this other boy channel named Rebel. And he had ran up in there, and then Ryan ran up on him. Unbiased Ryan, he ran up on him and
Oh
cooked him right there
no.
on TikTok. Man, it was a beautiful day, man. We was cracking up, man. We was
Hold-
cracking up, dog. That's what I'm trying to tell you, man. Revenue, man, he ain't never won a damn debate ever. I don't know why you keep on caping for him,
Who
but that's
me?
all right. Like I told you, bro. Yeah, you. But I don't know why you be caping for him. But I understand though, because you ain't got nobody like that in your lineage, but they all around you. You done made friends with all kinds of immigrants. I haven't. I'm in Detroit. I ain't we ain't up into that. You know what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, I'm in Dearborn right now,
Shout
where
out to Dearborn.
Dearborn Heights.
Yeah, shout out to
Dearborn Heights
Dearborn.
right now. You know what I'm saying? I was just in Dearborn, but now I went to Dearborn Heights. I'm gonna tell you the dynamics. So you got your Mayo, and you got your Arabs and trying to integrate. That's in Dearborn Heights.
Mm.
Now at Dearborn, it's more Arabs. Like I mean, they really it's like little Iraq. It really is.
Are they
It really is. But
Palestinians?
but
I
I,
think they're
I went to
Palestinians,
Kroger.
right?
I went to Kroger and thought it was gonna be a bunch of burgers. I did see some burgers, but it wasn't all burgers. You
Mm.
know what I'm saying? It wasn't all burgers, so I want to let that be known too. But y'all got to get out in the world and stuff and see everything. You ain't got to stay up in your crib and stuff. Try to get outside, but y'all also got to be nice and be
Yeah.
nice to these people. But also know that they don't really like you,
Oh
and
yeah.
they trying to cosplay you at every chance. And let them know, look, dog, you got that from me in so many words. Look at them and let them know you got that from me in so many words. All right, man, I gotta go, man. But I'll probably be back around, man. Go ahead and knock that show out, man, Roadshow, man. You kicking it.
Salute, salute. Thank you, thank you.
No problem.
Shout out to Convo. Shout out to Convo. Convo, Convo say, "Yo, you're all around them." Nah, not really. I personally stay away from them, and the reason why, it's just a cultural thing. I'd rather be around my own people. That's why I say it's more to me as a cultural thing. But I get what Convo is saying. If I was in New York, yeah, you're all around them. You know me, I love my curry goat, so I'm going back to Boston. Is it next week just to go get some curry goat? Or actually this week? Yeah, no, next week. I'm going to get some curry goat next week. Yeah, because it's my daughter's birthday. 2 weeks, so I know she wants to come home, and I'm buying her a new bed. I want my brother to sleep in my. All right, cool. But yeah, Convo, yeah, he's right. There's a lot of immigrants in Boston. Because don't forget they flooded Boston in the '60s. Um, yeah, they flooded Boston in the '60s, but a lot of them they moved to like Hyde Park, maybe in Mattapan, certain parts of Dorchester, but it's mostly. But there's a lot of Black Americans. That's why I said it's weird. Like those numbers aren't right. America put a stop to that bullshit. Didn't play games with Mexico. Yeah, facts. Um, who is this joke? Do he tell people who will be his doctor? Shabaka, it's all right, man. I know you. Let me say something about you, Shabaka. Shabaka, you be caping for the white man, and it's all right. It's just you can't throw your own brother in under the bus. Even though you don't agree with Tariq Nasheed, you can't throw your brother under the bus because you like using the brother word, brother, 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 brother. But you know you throw him under the bus. But let's start the show, everybody. We're almost at the 12 a.m. 12 p.m. in Boston right now. So let's watch this, and I'll be back.
Dear Latinos, being racist to other Latinos, indigenous, and black folks will not bring you any closer to the whiteness that you crave so much. And if this message bothers you, then it was probably meant for you.
Interesting. So Latinos have a problem with black people. Let us see what they have to say.
Black people in Mexico were not even acknowledged until recent years. Their presence was not acknowledged by the government up until very recent years. But yet, they have been there since days of slavery. You understand? So, since the days of slavery, a lot of the slaves in North America, in the United States, a lot of the slaves ran to Mexico to hide. And a lot of them have been living there. And not only that, but a lot of these Spaniards, they brought some slaves to Mexico too. So black people have been in Mexico for for hundreds of years. But Mexican government has not acknowledged their presence until very recent years. And that is why I made a video and called it Afro-Mexican, because these people have been there for many years with their own communities, speaking Spanish, of course, but they acknowledge their African ancestry. They acknowledge it. That's why they self-identify as Afro-Mexican, because
I said that. I'm saying everything that Ricardo is saying. There's certain things I disagree with Ricardo be saying, but the shit that he says about Mexican is the truth. And shout out to Ricardo. Ricardo is right about what he's saying. That's why I said a lot of Latinos, they don't want to identify with their with the African culture, even though they use African culture, they don't want to identify with it, and I think it's foul. It's a foul thing to do.
they're acknowledging their African roots, and the government has not bothered with them. When you watch telenovelas, Spanish telenovelas, have you ever seen a black man? No, never. But yet, black people have been there since the Europeans have been there.
Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Natskana Esther. If you're new here, hi, welcome. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, like, comment, and share. Let me know what you think in the comment section about Latinos feeling a certain type of way about black people. With us literally not saying a lot, they're being ready to assist towards black people, not only in America, but also in their country. I would not cease to remind Latinos in America that are ready to assist towards black Americans that you could never outshine the shiner, baby. Okay? Yeah. Black Americans walked so you can run. Yeah. This is why you guys can come into America and get your citizenship after 5 years. Meanwhile, it took them hundreds of years to be comfortable in this country to actually create opportunities for you, not only for you, but us as African people as well, and Asians. So, as we watch them complain, I want you black people to.
This is what I was explaining. This is what I was explaining about Latinos and something that they do need to really fix. If you want to be white, if you want to be a white Hispanic, be a white Hispanic, but you're gonna lose the milk and honey of what Black Americans try to make non-interchangeable about y'all. If you want to be, I'm no black poppy, y'all gotta be collectively, I'm no black poppy. I'm gonna be personally honest, and and there's nothing wrong with it. But you can't come, like I said, being black is not an interchangeable thing. It has never been. So at the end of the day, this is why I apologize to Latinos and say, like, yeah, I apologize for calling y'all black. You know?
Actually have that in mind, and just know, like, is to laugh at you and kiss you goodbye when you get on that plane back to Mexico when Trump is deporting you. And I'm not even saying this the bad way. I'm just trying to say to my fellow black people that are watching this, honey, they expose themselves. Let's watch and laugh.
And I can tell she's not an African. I know she's not a black American, but as I said, Tariq Nasheed put a lot of money in a lot of y'all's pockets. Y'all Africans, y'all Latinos, he put a lot of money in y'all pockets. He put a lot of money in y'all pockets. He gave a lot of y'all platforms. He gave y'all a lot of content to y'all. Especially you, Shabaka. If you start your show, your whole show will be anti-Tariq Nasheed, anti-FBA, anti-Black Americans. That will be your show. And you'll probably make some money off of it. Because at the end of the day, you're anti-Black.
So why when Latinos come together, they only help each other, but when Black people come together and create programs, it's always for Black and Latinos. This comment here was left underneath that video. I had actually addressed Afro-Latinos in my video, but a friend of mine called me and it muted the video, which I didn't realize, so I had to cut it out later. Anyways, as someone who works with a lot of Afro-Latinos, let me tell you that whenever I ask them about all of these kind of programs, the majority of them have told me that as Afro-Latinos, they feel safer and more welcome and more included when it comes to Black programs that are, again, designed for Black and Brown or Black and Latinos or whatever they're called, than they feel when they go to Latino founder communities. Which totally makes sense considering how colorist our community is.
I
And
said
that's
that.
exactly a reason why it's important to build intersectionally safe spaces and not safe spaces.
No, it isn't, Shabaka. Being African and Black is two different things. It has always been two different things. That's why you had Africans saying, I'm not Black, I'm Nigeria. I'm not Black, I'm Sudanese. I'm not Black, I'm Somali. I'm not Black, I'm Ethiopian. There's a difference. They're not interchangeable, Shabaka. This is what I'm talking about, you being emotional. Because you know that's not, excuse me, you know that's not true.
Or support groups or whatever they call themselves that are by design othering the very group that they're saying they're supporting.
Okay, my turn. Something that I'm not afraid to admit as a Latina is that a lot of non-Black Latinas will not only speak over Black women, but will also insert themselves in conversations and try to make them about themselves.
Such as Karen Bass. Karen Bass is a Mexican. You can tell. She might have a little bit of Black in her, but she's mostly Mexican. You can tell.
You are just goals for so many young Black women who just look up to
so many
you.
women.
So many women. Yeah, for women too, but for Black women, we need.
That's just Gina Rodriguez being Gina Rodriguez. We know that Black women give you heebie-jeebies. Anyway, she then goes on and contradicts herself.
I got into the arts so that I can hopefully create a path to have a reflection for our community, for Latinos, you know?
I thought we were talking about all women. Now, this next clip of J-Lo isn't as obvious, but I'll give context after.
It is just the norm.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure.
When you no longer need to ask that question.
Right. Yeah. I think when I first started, one of the things that I wanted to do, because I was Puerto Rican, Latina.
Lupita Nyong'o is saying that it's basically really trendy right now to work with underrepresented communities, and she's sharing her experience as a black woman. And immediately after, JLo has to bring up the fact that she's Puerto Rican, that she's Latina. Do you think that she knows that Lupita Nyong'o was born in Mexico and speaks fluent Spanish? And my last example is none other than Salma Hayek. Unfortunately, there is no video or recording of this conversation, but it's arguably the worst one. She basically got into a heated discussion with Jessica Williams and says a bunch of crazy shit like, who are you when you're not black and you're not a woman? Who are you? What have you got to give? So when you say women of color, Jessica, do you mind if I look into your eyes? And I interrupt because I feel misunderstood. It's not shutting you up. I feel misunderstood at one point. We should also be curious about our brain. By being the best that you can be. That's what I was trying to say to you. Let's not spend all the time in the anger, but in the investigation.
Yes. Yes. I know that, Dorsey. Yeah. And that's a good thing. You know, we still talk about Kwame Ture. Shabaka, you got a lot of faith in this one African guy, and he didn't even do anything yet.
And finally, baby, I'm Mexican and Arab. I'm from another generation, baby, when this was not even a possibility. Latino women were not even anywhere near where you guys were. You should read the full conversation. It's pretty gross. Not only does she refer to a grown woman in front of other working professionals as baby multiple times, she speaks for her, she shuts her down, she talks about her experience as a Mexican and Arab woman, and refers to the angry black woman trope. And Salma Hayek, you're a hypocrite.
¿Será por el hecho también de ser mujer que afecta un poco
Probablemente. No, no, yo creo que es diferente para ellos los españoles que los latinoamericanos.
It's not nice when other people try speaking for you, right?
Need we say more? I love to see that it's their people calling out their own people.
Yeah.
Being racist to people that look like me.
A lot of people seem confused and surprised about how 60% of Latino voters voted for Donald Trump after he's made countless racist and xenophobic remarks.
Yo, this is how crazy Latinos is. This nigga called Puerto Rico. He brought in Tony. I think Tony Kill Tony is very racist. I think he got I don't think he's racist. I think he has a very racist ideology. So yeah, we can say racist. I think he has an ideology that does make him racist. And he called Puerto Rico a floating a country that's was a trash floating country or some shit like that. And these Puerto Ricans and the Republicans did not take no accountability for that shit. You know, I thought that was fucked up. Black people were about to jump out the window for Puerto Rico and stuff like that, but the Puerto Ricans didn't even defend themselves. So you know what? Black Americans didn't even jump cape for them. Thank God, only the Democrats. But you know, there was more Puerto Ricans that voted for Trump. Puerto Ricans and Colombians that voted for Trump. Puerto Ricans can't get deported, but the Colombians can.
Against not only Latinos, but also immigrants from other countries. But Afro-Latinos, we're not surprised at all.
Nope.
Racism is alive and well in the Latino culture with things like mejorar la raza, which means to better the race, which is like street eugenics. Calling your family members based on their skin tone, like negro, negrita, as a loving term, but it's obviously derogatory because the anti-blackness is so prevalent. And the craziest part, if we were able to break down the Afro-Latino votes from the white and mixed Latinos, we'd probably see that Afro-Latinos inflated the Harris support from Latinos.
I've been called a gatekeeper so many times because I like to emphasize the fact that being Mexican doesn't automatically mean you're indigenous. And in a weird way, I'm kind of happy the whole Nuri Martinez and those other people the situation happened because...
Thank you, Dorsey. Floating garbage dump. That's what he called Puerto Rico. And none of y'all did anything. None of y'all jumped out the window. None of y'all niggas didn't say that shit was bad. Y'all just dealt with it. Y'all just dealt with it. And this is why I say, yo, you know what? I understand why they were mad at Black Americans, because we didn't vote. Even let me tell you something. Shabaka still gets on my case about voting, and he didn't even vote himself. Shabaka didn't vote himself, and he got mad that I didn't vote. Is that a hypocrite or what?
I think it's like there's no denying the fact that brown people can perpetuate discrimination and racism as well. You don't know how many times I've read, oh, but my grandpa was so dark, my tia was so dark, and it's like, so what? You
My
can literally
Iglela.
look like me, and that doesn't mean we're going to be treated the same in Mexico because I'm indigenous and you're not. And then it's always, oh, but that happened so long ago. Like, no, like this is literally your parents calling us indios, your grandparents calling us indios. Like, you probably used that at some
Shit's
point too.
crazy.
That's why when people are like, oh, like this is a Latino owned business, or oh yeah, that
Shabaka is a nut. You know why? I'm gonna say this. This lady is right, but Shabaka is a nut because I told Shabaka would say. Shabaka told me yesterday that FBA is a made up word by Tariq Nasheed. I asked him about the word African American in the 80s. I said, did Jesse Jackson coin it? He started talking about everything except what we were talking about. I said, Shabaka, I didn't ask that question. I said, did Jesse Jackson coin the word? He still didn't want to answer the question. He said, oh, that word was already made. I said, but who coined it? Who made it popular? And he said, that's bullshit. This is this and that. And I said, yo, okay, let me give you another example. I said the white man started calling y'all Africans. I said that word Africans came from a guy who colonized y'all. He was one of the colonizers, Leo Africanus. Why are y'all still calling yourself African? I said, isn't the word African a white man's word? If we're going by your ideology? He said that was bullshit again. Shout out to Shabaka. Shabaka's a nut, yeah, though.
actor, actress is Latino, whatever, or Mexican. It's always like people expect me to be happy, but it's kind of like, so what? Oh yeah, and I don't want to hear it from that. Yo crecí en México y nunca me pasó eso. Obviously, it didn't happen to you because you're not indigenous.
And she's cute too. This girl's a cute little Mexican girl too. Shout out to Mexico's beautiful women. Shout out. I'm talking to you, Sugar. You're cute out here. So do your thing. Oh, and this lady who made this video too. She cute too. Shout out to her. I think she's African, but she's still cute.
I grew up in Oaxaca y sí me pasó a mí, so yeah.
Honestly, I'm so glad that you're asking this because I've been wanting to talk about this for a very long time, and I'll probably make a more detailed video in the future, but I would be lying. I think a lot of us Latinos would be lying if we said that there wasn't anti-blackness in our communities, because there is. There is this deeply rooted anti-blackness that I think has gotten better in recent years, but it certainly exists. And as someone whose brother-in-law is black, whose nephews are Mexican-American black, I can't tell you how angry and frustrated I am, and honestly just disappointed by the atrocities that I keep seeing today when it comes to anti-blackness in Latino communities. And I can speak to specifically in Mexican communities. And just really quickly before I go to answer your question, what I find really sad is that when you look at history, the Latino community and the black community have always helped each other out. You look at the abolition of slavery.
That's cap. Black Americans always help the Latinos out or Mexicans out. Other than that, no. Y'all never really. If it was something, if y'all benefiting from it, like the riots, the Watts riots, because y'all was getting free shit. That's you're not really helping us out stealing. You know, but you are right to a certain extent. We did help you out.
In Mexico, which happened only 8 years after Mexico gained its independence from Spain. And they were bringing slaves from the US through Texas into Mexico to grant them freedom. And this was particularly done because of President Vicente Guerrero, I believe. He was Afro-Latino, which, by the way, was one of the earlier presidents in Mexico. So how can we even forget that an Afro-Latino man was one of the earlier presidents of Mexico? You look at the Chicano movements of the 1960s and the 1970s. You had Black Panthers and Chicano activists coming together to fight for universal justice for their communities. When you look at something as early as the Black Lives Matter movement, which I was in Arizona for. And let me tell you, I went marching and it was packed. And about 85 to 90%, I can confidently say, were Latinos. And they were hand in hand with their Black sisters and brothers. I tell you, it was beautiful. I mean, I'm getting literally chills. It just reminded me in that moment how we've been robbed, how our communities have been robbed from togetherness because we've been othered, not only by ourselves, but mainly by white supremacists. The devil works hard, but the white man works harder. And I say that because I think historically we've seen an implementation of divisive tactics.
Yo, shout out to this dude, man. He's doing his thing. Shout out to he's on point. That at that part he is on point. You know what he's saying.
Rooted in fear against Latinos and the Black community to create a division. To answer this question, it's very multifaceted, it's very complex. Things like assimilation pressures that a lot of Latinos fall into, white supremacy, which Latinos can be a part of as well, don't lie, structural racism, I think they all play a part. But one of the things that I feel has really been the rooted problem in all of this is colonialism. I don't think a lot of people realize the effects of colonialism far after it ends. And I think Mexico is a prime example because when the Spanish colonized modern day Mexico in the 1500s and were there for 300 plus years, they created a caste system that literally judged people based on skin color. And that caste system didn't end when Mexico gained its independence. It didn't just go away. It then filtered through society, and it is very alive and well today. I mean, kind of a side note, but when you look at media representation in Mexico, it's very rarely people that look like me. It's people who are more Aryan looking, who are more white passing, that essentially get those leading roles that are in big TV shows. So that breathes within Mexico, and it certainly breathes within its people. It is brought over by US Latinos here who believe in that caste, who inadvertently judge from a place of colorism, and whether subconscious or not, this is ingrained in their worldview. So of course, it's something that they don't even think of unless you put yourself out of it, which is what a lot of us have done, right? You decenter yourself and take a step back and become aware of what is happening, of the colorism, of the long-term ramifications of this caste system, then you allow space and opportunity to break away from that structural racism that we all inherently are a part of. And it's happening, even though it's from the think that this is where it's more important than ever for us to come together and realize this so that we can be a unit.
It's so important. I'm gonna start this one because I think what he said was very important. Yeah, because they were getting free shit, Shabaka. Because they were getting free shit. Of course they're gonna march with George Floyd. They were getting free shit. You know? But now we're gonna listen about the anti-blackness in the Latino communities. We're gonna hear from Afro-Latina.
The work that you are doing with this book. And I just want to talk about the title for a second. Unmasking suggests that there is a veil or some sort of cover in terms of the way that we talk about racism in the Latino community. So why are we in a place where we even have to unmask Latino anti-Black bias?
Well, there are two primary sort of dynamics that make it a taboo topic and a hidden topic, even though it's occurring, you know, in plain and open, unfortunately. And that's one, that Latinos themselves don't like to admit that we harbor anti-Black bias, that we are part and parcel of systems of racism, both within Latin America, the Caribbean, and in the United States. So there's that level. And then there's also the ways in which within the United States, discrimination has a very particular narrative, right? The narrative is this is something that white, Anglo, English-speaking Americans do to African Americans, right? Not anybody else. Sometimes we acknowledge, you know, an African or two, but for the most part, it is limited to a very binary view of the systems of racism as being primarily about white Americans versus African Americans. And so lost in that tunnel vision are the ways in which other communities of color are complicit in anti-Black bias as well.
I love that in this book, you were intentional about talking about racism against Afro-Latinos and African Americans. Can you talk about the ways that Latino racism is the same and different for each of those groups?
Well, the very reason why I was very purposeful about including both groups of Afro descendants that we have in the United States, amongst others, but those were my primary targets for examination. And the reason why I put it together as opposed to how this is typically done, meaning Latinos will occasionally talk about Afro-Latinos and trying to be a little bit more evolved about recognizing that we exist. And then there's the conversation, oh, we should build coalitions. Us Latinos, a racial monolith, Latinos as a race, we should be much more in coalition and supportive of, in allyship with our African American brothers and sisters, as if
She means Black Americans. But I fucks with her. I get what she's saying. I want to say this. She's right. That in the Latino community, I feel like, and this is just how I feel. It's not emotional, but it gives me sense that it gives me an alert where when they be like, oh yeah, this is what's going on in the Latino community, because it seems like this is an unspoken thing when it's in the house. When it's in the house, you can talk about it, but when you're out the house, you don't talk about it. You know, and shout out to this lady, Mrs. Hernandez. You know, Tanya Hernandez. I think she's Afro Latino or Black and Latino. So what she's saying is correct. It's just
blacks are scared of his.
I think we already did this one. I think we did this one all right. Hold on a second.
And it ain't even gonna be
earn their money. They wake up.
No,
right now I'm speaking about.
No, we did this one already. I want to see this part. I want to see this one right here. We did this. We did that one on Monday, so we're not gonna do it again. We're not gonna break that down again. So we're gonna skip that video, and we're almost done, everybody. So you know, as one of my clients say, hold your taters. So, but yeah, definitely this one right here we need to watch. I think this is very important, and this is what's coming from an Afro-Latino, you know, an Afro-Latino man. And I'm gonna say this: if anybody, I'm gonna say this: if anybody needs alliance, it's probably the Afro-Latinos. But we don't have no, and we don't have no allies. I'm gonna be personally honest. We have no allies. Do I think we'll have allies? No. Yeah, no. But we do. I personally, I cheer Afro Latinos on. I personally do because I think they deserve to be cheered on. But let's get
About the Ashley Gonzalez situation. For those who don't know, I'm the one with the Family Dollar, where the little girl was talking bad about black folks in Spanish, and I had to check that shiggity. So about Ashley Gonzalez, the way she talked about black folks, man, that's the norm. I'm gonna say this first: all Mexicans ain't like that, but a bunch of them are. See, I've heard them same conversations, how she spoke about black folks in English. I've heard them same conversations all my life here in Texas in Spanish. I was raised in Texas. I was raised in Houston. So, and I'm gonna say it straight up, yeah, it's a bunch of racism. See, I told Isaiah Carey when he asked me that on his show, he said that I think was a bunch of racism between against us who was in the Hispanic community. I told him the same. If I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I ain't gonna do it. I refuse to do it. Like I say, if my ears could speak, man, boy, they'll tell you some hell of a stories. It ain't, man, I'm like, as a kid, I remember being on a city bus and I would hear these people speak bad about black people and stuff, you know what I'm saying? In the penitentiary, I'm like, it's even worse, you know? We everything from Chango, Mayate, Mayuga, to Tirachos, to Chapapote is tar. You know, I've heard all of it. So the way she spoke in English about us, that's the way they speak about us in Spanish. Trust me, I know. And that's why I told Isaiah Carey, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I ain't gonna do it. Man, like I say, I look, I heard that stuff so much that the wax in my ears, have been melted. I don't even get wax in my ears no more because
Mm.
I've heard so much racism from them people towards us speaking in Spanish. So the way she spoke about us in English, man, that's what they talk about us in Spanish. And that's why I checked that little girl that day, but I wasn't trying to, I was just trying to let her know, you know, man, it's this, at this day of time, it's a bunch of us around here, man.
Mm-hmm.
So, like I say, I was raised in Houston before a bunch of Afro-Latinos even popped up, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Colombian. I was raised here. So I know the culture. And I ain't gonna sit and say, no, it ain't racism, it ain't a bunch of racism. I'd be lying if I say that. And that's why my response was, Taziel Carey, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right with a group of people, then I just refuse to do that.
That's the, and I'm gonna say this. This is why I had to throw the Afro Latinos in there because this is the bullshit that they have to deal with. They gotta. I don't think, as a Black American, if I put it this way, if I didn't experience what a lot of these Latinos go through, I would have never know. A lot of these Latinos have to prove that they're Latinos. These Afro Latinos have to prove that they're Latinos. You know, so it's I don't wanna be disingenuous and not be like, oh yo, you know, they all stick together. No, there's a fucking colorism problem. It's not that they're joking around. No, that's not joking around. If you're trying to hurt a motherfucker's fault, if you're telling a motherfucker don't date a darker Latinos or don't date no black man, you can date a white man or another Latinos. You know, and this is the same bullshit that Amara La Negra went through, and she's Dominican. She went through that shit. You know, they think like I don't think people understand that they they think dark skin is a curse. They're looking at that shit as a curse. You know, so it's to them it's normal. To us, that's not normal. It's not normal.
Hey, it is what it is. Sea lo que sea. You know, I'm gonna say this. I remember one time this little girl cut for me, Mexican girl cut for me. She was telling her mama, man, chico, 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 chico. And I remember going in the house and I remember her mama saying, ¿Quién es el negrito ese? She know who that little nigga right there, you know what I'm saying? She said, oh, it's that chico. She said, tú eres chico. I said, sí, sí, yo soy chico. They don't let tú eres. Now, oh, you chico. Now it became all right because I told her to speak Spanish. Once again, if I got to speak Spanish to be all right, then I don't want to be all right.
This is definitely no surprise to me.
This is why I say this is what I say. You know, a lot of these Afro Latinos have to prove that they're Latino. They'll start talking crazy about them and don't even know that they're Latinos. Haitian people do the same shit. They'll talk crazy about a black person and don't even know that person's Haitian. You know, there's a lot of colorism that goes on. You know, in a lot of these Caribbean countries, these Latino countries. Yes, you know, it's Black Americans. We're on. I'm gonna say this: we're on code than more than anybody. So it's and I get it. I personally, if anything comes out this, I hope and personally believe and I wish because I don't think it will happen. I wish Afro Latinos and specifically just Afro Latinos can come together with Black Americans, and the reason why because we suffer the similar type of situation in this country, and they suffer the same simple situation in their country. But I know the shit ain't gonna happen. I know it's not gonna happen. You know, that's why I always tell them I do support them, but I'm not gonna cape for them. I'm not caping for nobody. You know. If they ask me for some type of advice, I'll give them advice, but I'm not gonna jump out the fucking window, throw on the cape, and say I'm here to save you. No, absolutely not. I'm just gonna like, yo, you know, you should do it this way, that. Y'all should. And the thing about it, they are actually kind of doing it, especially in certain countries like Brazil. They are doing it in these certain type of countries, but a lot of these, don't forget, a lot of these old school. I'm gonna say this: a lot of these Afro Latinos now and Latinas, they're bed witches because their elders failed them. Their elders failed them. To a certain extent, their elders failed them and said that their skin color is a curse. You need a white man. You need somebody lighter. You need to whiten up that skin. And it's true. It's true. You know, and that's the sad, and to me it's disgusting. These old fucking Latinos is it's disgusting what they did to this generation of Latinos. It's disgusting. You're not even giving them a fair chance of winning. Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe and comment in the live chat. And also, if you want to comment in the live chat, don't forget you have to be a subscriber. So subscribe. And if you want to donate, my Cash App, my Cash App's there. You can super chat, and also you can you can send money to my GoFundMe. My GoFundMe for my short film, Brother Morningstar's Sir Adam's Great Portrayal. We will start be doing work in the fall, so definitely stay tuned. And I appreciate for all the donations and the shares that y'all have been doing as well. Thank you again. But yeah, let's finish up on this.
A lot of colorism in Latin America due to their colonization from Europeans. They discriminate against any dark-skinned person in their families, on their jobs, etc.
Told you.
For centuries, anti-blackness and colorism have existed throughout much of Latin America, rooted in European colonization, slavery, and caste systems imposed by the Spanish and Portuguese empires. Long before modern immigration debates, African-descended people in places like Brazil, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, Mexico,
Yeah,
and
man.
across the
Shit
Caribbean
is
were
fucking
dealing with
disgusting.
systems that privileged whiteness and often marginalized black identity. After
That's why I was telling you. I think their elders failed them. I think the old people in Puerto Rico, in Dominican Republic, Brazil, and Brazil is Portuguese. That's a Portuguese country, you know. But as I was saying, they failed them. They failed their generation. You know, and I think that's the worst part, and it's the sad part because at the end of the day, like I said, you're not giving them a fair chance of surviving. You know, knowing how the white supremacist is, the white supremacists will turn on you like this, and they don't give a fuck because at the end of the day, you're not supposed to be here. You know, so yeah, y'all niggas are still talking about FBA. This isn't an FBA show. The fuck are y'all smoking crack? But yeah, this isn't an FBA show. This is a show about colorism, specifically colorism. You know, and this is how I know that y'all are not real Pan African. Shabaka, I don't even think you're a real Pan African. And the reason why, because we're talking about Afro-Latinos. We're talking about Afro-Latinos and the colorism that they go through. And at the end of the day, you still insist on talking about FBA. You say, Black Snow Bunny, you too, man. You're not no black nationalist. Y'all niggas is pathetic. I'm gonna be personally honest. You Pan Africans, you black nationalists, listen, nationalists, y'all are phony and y'all are fake. Y'all have always been fake. You know, I'm gonna say this. I am more pro Afro Latino than you are. I'm more pro African than a lot of y'all. It's just I put my people first. I put Black Americans first. I have always put Black Americans first. Yeah, Shabaka is he's a Democrat. The Democrats pay him. All he talks about FBA, Tariq Nasheed, and Donald Trump and the Republicans.
colonization, societies developed racial hierarchies where lighter skin often meant greater opportunity, social acceptance, and economic mobility. That legacy did not disappear. It evolved into modern colorism, where skin tone can affect marriage prospects, hiring, status, and even how people are treated within their own families. Look at television and media in many Spanish-language countries. For decades, telenovelas, News
Thank you. I said
broadcasts
that
and
too.
advertising often centered white-presenting or European-looking faces,
Yep, I said
while
that.
Afro-Latino and indigenous people were underrepresented.
I talk about her all the time. Amara La Negra. I talk about her all the time, man. I think she's so beautiful too. She is so. She's Dominican. She is so beautiful. And she went through colorism. I think that's a big ass wig she got on. And shout out to her, man. But yeah, it's oh man.
Presented or stereotyped. That was not accidental. Media helped normalize who was seen as beautiful, educated, respectable, and powerful. This is bigger than personal prejudice. It has been structural. Even scholars in Black American studies and Latin American studies have examined anti-Blackness not only as social bias, but as something embedded in institutions, schools, policing, labor systems, and immigration hierarchies. The myth of racial democracy, especially in places like Mexico and Brazil, often hid deep inequalities rather than solving them. And when people migrate, they do not leave all social attitudes behind. Most times, class prejudices, color hierarchies, or anti-Black stereotypes will travel too. In the United States, that has at times contributed to tensions between some immigrant communities and some foundational Black American communities, especially around jobs, housing, politics, and economic competition. A historically grounded argument shows that tensions between segments of Mexican American political leadership and Black Americans did not begin recently, but have roots in older struggles over race, status, labor, and power. During the Jim Crow and civil rights eras, certain leaders sought advancement by distancing themselves from Black Americans and from Blackness itself. Critics have argued that this did not challenge the racial hierarchy of America so much as seek a different place within it. That criticism has been directed at parts of the history of League of United Latin American Citizens, particularly where legal and political strategies emphasize separation from Black identity. That history connects to a broader pattern scholars have identified across parts of Latin America and the United States: anti-Blackness and the minimizing of foundational Black Americans' contributions to history. The struggle over Afro-Mexican recognition, for example, has often been cited as evidence that Black identity was marginalized or erased from official narratives. Critics say when Black presence is erased from history, it becomes easier to erase Black claims in the present. That concern is part of why some foundational Black American advocates argue there are attempts to blur or weaken the specific historical case for reparations owed to descendants of U.S. slavery. From that perspective, the conflict over reparations is not just about money. It is about historical recognition. It is about whether the unique injuries of slavery, Jim Crow laws, redlining, and exclusion will be acknowledged as a debt owed specifically to foundational Black American freedmen descendants. Some activists argue that when those claims are folded into broader people of color politics, the original debt can be diluted.
I already just told you what I just tell you. I told you I support Latinos, but I'm not caping for them. I just told you that, Shabaka. You're not listening. I'm not caping for anybody if they're not Black Americans. I am pro Latinos. I am pro Latinos. I am pro Afro Latino, but I'm not caping. I'm not gonna jump out the window. I support from a distance. I'm jumping out the window for my people because my people need the help, and no one else is gonna help. Stop playing with your spices. Shout out to FBA. But yeah, yeah, Shabaka. Yeah, you want people to jump out the window. You don't even jump out the window for your own people. Like you don't jump out the window for Africans. Let's personally be honest. You make up all the excuses in the world for Africans. I personally, I make people take accountability. Even my own people take accountability. You don't do stuff like that.
That has been part of debates in places like California, where lineage-based reparations proposals generated disagreements over eligibility. There have also been long-running tensions over labor, and political representation. In some urban areas, Black and Latino communities have experienced conflict over jobs, public resources, and electoral influence. Scholars describe these as structural tensions.
Let's move on to the next one. This is the last one. I think this is. Oh, I didn't even do a Tariq Nasheed one today, but I'm gonna do this one right here. I'll be right back, everybody.
To these people, they don't see you as human. They think that non-whites are less human than white people.
That's fine. You know why? Because I'm gonna be assimilated. My children will be assimilated.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Where some of the most prominent white supremacists online aren't even white. And we're seeing so much of this because of the rise of these non-white Nazi influencers.
I like Hitler. I do not. The Holocaust is not what happened. Let's look at the facts of that. And Hitler has a lot of redeeming qualities.
Nigga, Heil Hitler. Heil Hitler.
I think one of the most lied about figures in history. I definitely think by far one of the most lied about figures in history.
You know, I'm kind of thinking we should bring the Nazi salute back.
Which is why I think it's important to talk about what's going on. Because people like Nick Fuentes, Myron, Sneeko are actually influencing a younger generation of non-white people to not only support white supremacy and systematic oppression, but in a lot of cases, we see these people become white supremacists themselves, which as a concept is just insane to me.
Explain your reasoning. I really want to know why you think like this.
Because you're literally running cover for a fucking white supremacist movement that sees you as subhuman, and you're cheerleading them.
But I'm Jew. Welcome to the channel. Please like and share the video. Don't forget to sub. Now, let's get into it.
Are you white? Are you white?
This revolution will not go anywhere.
Hold on. You don't sound like you're white. Are you white?
Yes.
No, you're not. You're literally a cuck. You're literally a fucking cuck. You're a non-white
Good.
person, part of a white supremacist movement because you're a fucking cuck. Literal cuckold.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm Hispanic Latino.
Okay.
If you're part of a movement where you can't even admit your ethnicity, besides all the stuff already stated, white supremacy is a hate movement. To align yourself with the movement like that and have to hide your ethnicity or not feel comfortable enough to admit that you're Latino is crazy to me. Because just like we know, that means that they know that the people in their movement and their group don't even like them. So they literally have to hide their identities to be somewhere that they're not welcome.
Okay, exactly.
I'm gonna tell
So
you
you're
right
a
now.
cuck. There you go. Cuckold.
There you go.
Standard cuckold.
Explain your reasoning. I really want to know why you think like this.
Because you're literally running cover for a fucking white supremacist movement that sees you as subhuman, and you're cheerleading them.
Subhuman. How so?
Because they say it all the time. They literally think anybody that is not a white Christian nationalist is subhuman, beneath them, low IQ, all of the things that they say. But you know, with things like this, just like anybody of color that supports MAGA, they think these racists are referring to everybody but them. They think the racist or sexist policies that this administration puts into effect will affect everybody but them.
Hispanics aren't oppressed and Asians aren't oppressed, and they don't feel oppressed, and they don't feel kinship with blacks. They feel kinship with whites. Hispanics want to work hard. They want to drink their Coronas. They want to eat their fucking tacos, and that's it. They're pretty complacent. Now, I don't want the country to become Mexico.
There's this weird delusion that all of these people fall under after their indoctrination. That if white supremacists had their way, if they were able to turn America into a white Christian nationalist country only, if you're a Muslim or any other religion, you're out of the country. If you're a person of color, you're out of the country, unless you stay here under them with no rights and upward mobility. If all of these people got their way, please believe MAGA and the white supremacists are going to do the exact same thing to their non-white supporters.
Myron, you were in MySpace the other day, and I said, you know, you're doing a great job calling these, but you know, if we take this country back, we want it for white folks. And would you go home? And you said, I was born here and I'm not going anywhere. And this is where I think the problem is with working with non-whites, is that once you think you help us, that you're just going to stay in our country. Do you still stand with that answer?
Bro, you look, man, I know you're trying to get a culpable moment.
Hey, Shabaka, that's you, man. You're the Myron Gaines of Pan-Africanism, man. You think you're trying to make this America a white country, and they're gonna accept you. They're not gonna accept you, Shabaka.
Here for your
No, it's the truth, man. This is the issue with whites working with non-whites.
About a problem. We're over here talking about a problem, then you bring it right back into, you know, this whole white thing. Like, dude, shut the fuck up.
This whole white thing is what built this country, Myron.
Shut the fuck up, dude.
Hey, you fucking sand.
Because the purpose of modern day white supremacy, especially the stuff we see online these days, is very clear. They actually hate anyone that isn't white and see all of us as below them, low IQ, subservient.
Also,
Have you talked to these people? They don't see you as human. They think that non-whites are less human than white people.
They can think that all they want,
Okay,
but
and you're part of their army, you fucking bitch. You're a literal cuck. Like, what can I tell
that's
you?
fine. That's fine. You know why? Because I'm gonna be assimilated. My children will be assimilated.
Jesus Christ, bro.
Why would you even want that? To want for yourself, your future kids, your entire culture to be assimilated means you want it to be non-existent. You're willing to give up everything that makes you you, that makes your culture what it is. To assimilate
Shabaka.
to whiteness and white supremacy, which is just sad that people really think like this. Either they think they're exempt from the hatred of white supremacists, or they understand that they're working with a group that hates them, and they're still willing to be useful idiots, even abandoning themselves or their culture. If anything, what anybody should want when it comes to cultures mixing for your own culture is acculturation, which is like sharing the ideas and practices of your culture, but never losing it, maintaining exactly who you are, which would not be able to happen under a white Christian nationalist, white supremacist, all MAGA country.
Just like the Italians,
This
just
is
like the Irish.
crazy, bro.
It's crazy to actually hear a Latino person say it, because historically what's happened is immigrants come to this country, like he mentioned the Irish, they were looked down on by white people who were already in this country. They weren't even considered white until they gravitated toward whiteness, did whatever they needed to do to be considered white. And that's what he's saying the Latino community wants to do.
One of the biggest disappointments that came out from the election and Kamala Harris losing the election is me discovering how many Latinos not only voted for that man, but actively voted against our community and actively spoke ill will of immigrants when so many of them are descendants of immigrants themselves, and how so much of this is tied to the need to feel close to whiteness.
Which what a lot of black Americans feel anyway, that we're the only people of color that are perfectly fine being people of color, and we don't want to gravitate toward whiteness. We want our communities to be safe, flourishing, and left alone for the most part.
Oh, you're literally a
crazy?
cuckold. You have no dignity at all.
Dignity? What dignity?
Are you gonna let them fuck your wife?
Would you?
I'm not a cuck like you, so no. I'm asking you.
Would
You're a
you?
cuck.
You're honestly, I think you're just projecting at that point.
No, you're literally a brown white nationalist.
Oh,
That's like the lowest thing you could possibly be.
If anything, white people here need Hispanics and Latinos more.
White people need Latinos more than anybody else. What does that statement even mean? Is he referring to the Republican voting bloc? Like they need the Latino support? What is... I don't even know what that statement means. Is he talking about from a subservient perspective? If they need their help with like the manual labor of businesses, farms, and that type of stuff? Like I don't know what he's referring to.
White people here need Hispanics and Latinos more than anyone else.
White
Do you want to know why?
You're literally the Latino Uncle Ruckus. What the fuck are you talking
our
about?
population is more than half white,
Literal
at least,
Latino
or
Uncle
50%
Ruckus.
white.
This is crazy.
Our religion is similar, Christianity.
Bro, these are real life justifications of why some Latinos really gravitated toward Trump. Because let's not forget, Latinos for Trump played a major role in Trump being reelected. Hispanic voters sent Trump back to power. Now some are souring. Too late. When Trump pulled off a decisive electoral victory in 2024, he did so with the backing of millions of Latino voters, hoping to propel him over the finish line. That election saw Trump receive a higher percentage of the Latino vote than any other Republican in history, with 46%.
I'm Hispanic and I vote for Mr. Trump. We vote for Mr. Trump.
Now that ICE is harassing, detaining, and deporting them, they regret it.
Do I regret voting for Donald Trump? 100,000 times yes. The mass deportation that is happening.
Why Donald Trump?
The
Why?
unconstitutional rights that are happening, all of the AI bills that are being signed right now. I mean, I can go on and on. The banning of different countries from coming into America, that was my last straw. And I think a lot of people who voted for Donald Trump also say the same thing.
I have to say, I'm not going to lie. It absolutely baffles me that you voted for someone and you never looked at his first term. If you did look into his first term before voting for him, you would see that all the things that you were complaining about, he enacted in his first term.
I'm a Latina who voted for Trump, and I am so sorry. Like, this is some real bullshit going on. I didn't know I was gonna go through all of this.
To the Latinos that voted for him, you will never, and I repeat, never be white. You will never be accepted as one of them, and you certainly are not exempt from the racism that is this racist-ass regime.
Bro, honestly, all the white people in Nick Fuentes' movement were in the space already. You have Beardson, You have this Grendel from Beowulf, hideous, whatever. And then everyone else is just like this guy, brown, white nationalists. Every single one of his other viewers and people in the movement are literally just like this guy.
It's so crazy to think about. There's so many people online would be regurgitating white supremacist rhetoric or arguing with people defending white supremacy and saying whatever racist shit they say all over X. Meanwhile, they're not even white. Again,
arguing with me. Y'all niggas be arguing with me. I'm like, yo, it's not gonna go that way. It's not gonna go that way. Niggas gonna turn on you. And I'm just saying that to protect y'all. Because I was gonna
back
vote
to
anyway.
what modern day white supremacy is and what they're all up in arms about is this great replacement theory where they feel like they're being phased out.
The great replacement theory. Yeah, a theory. Okay. It's the realest thing there is, and it's happening not because unseen hands are orchestrating it, though clearly they are, but because the native peoples of all these countries are participating in it enthusiastically.
Where they feel like they're being phased out because in the near future, they will no longer be the majority in America.
The changing racial demographics in the United States, projecting that the United States will no longer be a majority white country by the mid-2040s.
The underlying fear is that white people will end up being treated like black and brown people have ultimately been treated historically. And that's just not true. That's not who we are. If we wanted revenge, we would have gotten that 100 years ago. What I want is for those white people that believe in this theory to understand that whiteness can exist without dominance in this nation.
And this article from the New Yorker addressed the rise in Latino white supremacists. White supremacy, especially aligned with MAGA, is all about whitewashing American history, erasing the contributions and stripping away the rights of people of color, deporting immigrants, legal, illegal, criminal, not criminal, anybody who doesn't fit a very specific standard of white, and really to drag this country back to a time where nobody had rights except for white men. This article actually talks about how a Mexican American got radicalized. On May 6th, a 33-year-old Mexican-American man named Mauricio Garcia shot and killed 8 people in an outlet mall in Allen, Texas. Then he was shot and killed by an off-duty police officer. Because of his white supremacist views, the shooter expressed in his diary online, many were shocked that he was Latino. The diary he kept in the years leading up to the shooting made it clear his growing persuasion by white power ideology. He wrote about the superiority of non-Latino white people and claimed they would lose their edge if they continued to let non-white immigrants into the country, says a Mexican-American man. At the end of the day, one of the worst things is a person that goes against their people, their community. And that's exactly what we're seeing play out now, especially with these Groypers and Nick Fuentes followers. It's really all about their need to be close to whiteness, and they're willing to sell out their own communities to do it. Seriously, having to lie about your identity and ethnicity to be part of a group that hates you is just crazy work. But shout out to my channel members. Thank you so much for supporting, and thanks for watching. Y'all let me know what you think about all this in the comments. Also, make sure you check out the next video, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram for behind the scenes and life stuff, and I'll catch you next time. Peace.
All right, I'm gonna answer y'all question. Give me a second. I have to go back. All right, here we go. So I'm gonna say this. No, Dorsey, I'm not Dominican. He said, "Aren't you Dominican?" No, I'm not Dominican. But I want to say this. This is why. And I'm gonna tell you my theory. My theory is that a lot of give me a second, everyone. Give me a second, everybody. Let me take this off. So my theory is that I think a lot of these Latinos want to be the new white person. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to backfire as it already is. And it's going to be the end of the road for them. And the reason why it's going to be the end of the road for them, because they don't know how to stay on code. We see how the jails act. We see how they are in politics. We see how they are in entertainment. And they haven't. I'm not surprised. I'm gonna be personally honest. I'm not surprised that they do and say shit like this. You know, I think it's gonna get worse, but worse for them personally because they they're against their own people. You know, as I said, they're against their own people. They treat their own people wrong. They'll turn on. Let me tell you, a Latino will turn on a regular Latino for a white man. It just ain't no ands and buts about it. You know, wherever they get, but and we gotta also look at examples. The was it Trayvon Martin, Daniel Penny. A lot of those immigrants, and I gotta say immigrants, Latinos and Caribbeans, they were a part of letting the oppressor go. So I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised at all either. And I'm gonna land there, and I'm gonna start giving my shout outs. Shout out to Fresh Always, Salute, Dorsey, Convo, Black Snow Bunny. Damn, Shabaka, you in number 5, man. You in the back. H9K, salute. Shout out to Ray Ray, the Minds of Sean. What's going on? Miss Ramirez, Born Enemy, Jeff. But I want to tell y'all, thank y'all for watching the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And also leave comments as well. I think leaving comments, I do read them. But yeah, just I'll be making today. I'll be making some shorts for y'all too. So just give me time. I don't got wrestling today. I had a show to go to, but I gotta go to work. But y'all take care, and I'll see you tomorrow. Because it's Friday and I'm going to figure out what we're going to talk about. And take care, everybody. Have a good day.